All right, it's game day. You only got one job to do. That's win. That means you stay focused for 4 quarters. Know your assignments and finish on every play. Don't be looking for shortcuts, and don't even think about making excuses. Because if you want the W, you're going to have to earn it.
And a very pleasant good evening, football fans, and welcome to Baker Gator High School Football, the playoffs. Tonight, we are live from Baker, Florida, inside Doug Griffith Memorial Stadium, home of the Baker Gators. Tonight is the first round of the state playoffs between the Baker Gators and the Freeport Bulldogs. It's been a while since the Gators and the Bulldogs have mixed it up on the gridiron, but tonight they will clash one more time in the swamp with the ultimate prize, a state championship. The Baker Gators and the Freeport Bulldogs. It's a one-game season. The winner moves on. The loser goes home. Baker Gator High School Football. The pregame, the kickoff. Stay tuned. It's all coming up. And once again, a very pleasant good evening, football fans, and welcome to Baker Gator High School Football, the playoffs. Tonight, live from Baker, Florida, inside Doug Griffith Memorial Stadium. This is Baker Gator High School Football. I'm Mark Forehand, all set, all excited to bring you the exciting play-by-play action of tonight's first-round playoff game between the Baker Gators and one of their oldest rivals, the Freeport Bulldogs. And with me once again, as he has been all season long, is my younger son, Seth. And Seth, it's good to be back in the press box. It's also good to be back without an extra week between games.
Yes, it is. It feels interesting to have consecutive weeks of football, so it's nice to be here. And how about our first season back on the air in several years, and it's a playoff season right off the bat, so really excited about tonight. It's going to be a good game.
Indeed it is. Last week, the Gators close out the regular season with a 47-0 shutout over Graceville. And Seth, they, for the second time in the history of Baker football, this team, these seniors that have played for the last 3 years, have gone 3 straight regular seasons undefeated. The last time that was done was 35 years ago, 83, 84, 85. And as any Baker fan knows, diehard fan knows, those were the first 3 state championships for these Baker Gators. And who was on that team back then? Head coach Matt Brunson.
The legend himself.
Exactly. Well, Seth, you want to recap the Graceville game real quick before we move on to the Freeport game tonight? Anything you want to mention from last week's game with Graceville?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about the Graceville game. So we knew coming in that Graceville had kind of a down season. They were coming in 2-5-1, just really struggling putting together good offense and defense, just giving up massive amount of points. And Baker, obviously, all year putting up massive points, and their defense has just been lights out. They were lights out in that game, coming up with a 3rd shutout of the season. And their offense just continued to do what they've done all season and scored the most points that they have scored all season, 47 points, defense allowing none. And so Rockwell was a stud last week, only threw 3 passes, completed 2 of them, and one of them was for a touchdown to Eric McQueen, the tight end, his first touchdown reception. Junior McLaughlin on the ground, 15 carries, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just another day at the office for Junior. He ended up with a long run of 53 yards that game. And then some of the backup backs got to come in and show some action. Joseph Brunson, the son of head coach Matt Brunson, 5 carries, 25 yards and a touchdown, and a fullback, Mr. Garen Mitchum, with a couple of carries for 8 yards and a touchdown. So several different Gators, actually about 6 different Gators were able to score last week, including the blocked punt return for a touchdown by Sean McLeod. So just a lot of different scoring, and the Gators looked ready to head into the playoffs this week.
Indeed they do, Seth, and we're all set here. It has rained off and on all week. It's rained here prior to tonight's game. And the game time temp right now is about 60, and it's going to be 43 before the night is over with. Baker and Freeport. This rivalry, not quite as old as the Baker-J rivalry, Seth, but it has been a rival probably right next to it. And it's been a while since the Gators and the Bulldogs have mixed it up. But this game, this will be the last time this season because, as we said, it's the playoffs. The winner moves on, and the loser, well, he gets to spend Thanksgiving at home. But
True.
Nonetheless, we're about set. The Gators are dressed all maroon tonight. The maroon helmets, maroon jerseys with the white numbers, and the maroon pants. Now, the Bulldogs are blue and orange and white. Tonight, they're wearing their white jerseys with the blue numbers, blue pants with a white stripe. And right now, team captains are at midfield and are about to approach midfield for the coin toss. I believe we're waiting for the national anthem. Team captains for the Baker Gators are Brian Holly, Peyton Rockwell, Zach Mason, and also Zach Livingston. And team captains for the Freeport Bulldogs are Justin Clark, Cameron Hardy, and I believe also Cade Layton, and I can't make out the other one, Seth. But anyway, team captains. Now, Seth, Freeport, they've had kind of a rough year. They've only won 3 games and lost 6, but they've had 5 common opponents with the Baker Gators. And we'll talk about the scores later, but briefly, the 5 common opponents, Baker won over all those. Freeport lost to each one of those. And I believe it was Holmes County, Graceville, South Walton, Jay, and Northview. So that doesn't fare too well for Freeport, but nonetheless, that's why we play the game.
That's true, and we can talk about those, stats all day. But like you said tonight, it is a one-game season. They are 0-0, both of them coming into tonight's game. So we can throw out all those previous stats. Still fun to talk about, but tonight it's a different thing on the line. It's go to the playoffs, as you said, or go home.
Exactly. Looks like the Bulldogs may have won this toss, and all season long we've seen the Gators when they have kicked off, they always go with the pooch kick. And it looks like Freeport will be receiving, and so Baker will be kicking off. We're just about set for this first-round playoff between the Baker Gators and the Freeport Bulldogs. We'll take a short break and be right back after this.
One of our sponsors this year for our live coverage of Baker Gator varsity football is Wise Equipment in Crestview. Wise Equipment specializes in sales and services of Kubota and John Deere mowers and tractors. They carry Steel and John Deere chainsaws, line trimmers, and blowers. Plus, they have John Deere toys. All products are backed by a manufacturer's warranty. Wise Equipment is located at 1147 South Verdon Boulevard in Crestview and can be reached at 850-682-3366.
We are proud to acknowledge the support of Whitehurst Powell Funeral Home in Crestview. They are a family-owned and operated funeral home, open 7 days a week, and can handle all funeral needs. Plus, they offer advanced planning. Whitehurst Powell is also home to the Southern Heritage Crematory. They are located at 436 James Lee Boulevard, and the phone number is 850-682-3052. Owner Andy Powell is committed to caring for you in your time of need, and is also proud to help make coverage of Baker Gator football possible.
Welcome back to Baker. And now the national anthem by your Sound of the Swamp.
And that, of course, was the national anthem. as performed by the Baker High School Marching Band. We are just about set for tonight's game between Baker and Freeport. And Seth, we mentioned Baker's running back Junior McLaughlin, but Freeport has their own running back. He also wears number 2, Brandon Seipels, and he's had quite a season himself. He has only 1,271 yards rushing, but this Freeport team is more of a pass team than a run team with the run-pass option that they like to run the spread offense. But still, from what Coach Brunson said, he said it just short and sweet. This guy is good.
And, yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. I wouldn't say they're predominantly pass, but they do have a more balanced attack with that run-pass option. Their quarterback in Justin Clark has about 900 yards on the rear, nearing 1,000, could break 1,000 tonight if things go his way, and then the 1,200 rushing yards. So they've got a little bit more balance in their offense. Clark showing himself as a good passer. He has 6 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions, and that's something that may not bode well from a Gator defense that has just shown absolute dominance all season, especially in their secondary and on their line that just doesn't give quarterbacks a lot of time to pass. So we'll see how that matchup progresses tonight.
Well, the Gators all season, I believe their total as far as points was 296.
That's how many they've scored. Yeah.
To 53 for the opponent,
Yep.
where Freeport has only scored 228 but given up 240. Thus the 3-6 record.
Yeah.
And as far as the common opponents we mentioned already, they've lost 5 to the 5 teams that Baker has won over, and won over dominating.
Yeah.
Well, we are just about set here. There's not quite a capacity crowd, but there's a good crowd here tonight. The rain and the cold weather has not kept these fans away, and we are just about set for tonight's playoff game between the Baker Gators and the Freeport Bulldogs. Baker all in maroon, and the Bulldogs in white jerseys and blue pants with a slight bit of orange there. Set to kick off is Brian Holly, who has pooch kicked the majority of the time this season to about the 40-yard line. So it looks like he may be pooch kicking to, he's going to know, Seth, he's going to kick it straight away. And it goes to Jared Dunwald, who makes a fair catch at the 20-yard line. And that's where Freeport sets up just underway here in the first quarter.
An interesting choice by Jared Dunwald. He fair catches the ball at his own 20-yard line, has a lot of open space set before him, but he may have heard a little bit about Joe Brunson, just watching some of the tape and seeing what he does to returners on kickoffs.
Okay, we're just about set. We are underway. Baker and Freeport, glad to have you listening to WTJT and Jock Jive. Quarterback for the Bulldogs is Justin Clark. He's under center and just dives straight ahead on the first play and gains maybe a yard, Seth, and he's brought down. Tackle made, I believe that's Carter Mason makes the tackle.
And that time it's Justin Clark just on a simple quarterback keeper right up the gut, looking like he's trying to find any kind of space up the middle, and you're not going to find much in the heart of that Gator defensive line. And like you said, Carter Mason just immediately wraps him up for a short gain, so 2nd and long coming up.
Yeah, 2nd down and 8. Under center I formation, Justin Clark. Hands off to Seipels. And Seipels is still trying to find somewhere to run, and is stopped by just the whole Baker defensive front, pushed him back. They give us forward progress to about the 28-yard line. Brings up 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, like Carter Mason made the initial grab, and then Joe Brunson and John Mataleska just come up and help finish him off, along with several of the linebackers and defensive backs. And Seipel showing some good power as he runs up the gut there, finds a little bit of space, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and short, which is going to be critical for this offense to put themselves in.
Yeah, 3rd and 2 again. Under center is Justin Clark. And hands off to, this time, it is Tobias Holmes on the carry. He tries to break to the outside, and he is met by a brick wall of Gators. And he's pushed back to the 24-yard line. So, well, now they give us forward progress to the 30. I'm sorry. So it is a 1st down for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that time Holmes is looking like he's going to go up the middle, but then sees some space to the outside, decides to take it around the edge. And the Gators, with usually great speed, laterally just can't quite get to Holmes before his forward progress takes him just past the 30, and he will just barely have that 1st down, give him a new set of downs.
First and 10, Freeport from their 30. 10-17 to go first quarter. No score. Justin Clark under center. And for the first time, back to pass. And he hits his man right in the hands, and he drops it. That's Cole McCormick, who can't bring the pass in, so it brings up second down and 10 for the Freeport Bulldogs.
And if you're McCormick, you're punching yourself over that one. There's not many opportunities that you're going to have to be wide open in the flat, and he just drops that one, takes his eye off. I think he might have been looking downfield, seeing some of that green before he had his hands completely on the ball.
Second down 10 for the Bulldogs from their 30-yard line. 10-10 to go in the first quarter. No score. Freeport. Justin Clark, quarterback, under center. And again, looks like he just keeps the ball, Seth. No, I'm sorry, hands off to Dunwald. Dunwald's out to about the 33-yard line. Going to bring up third down 7 for Freeport.
Dunwald, one of the other backs besides Disciples that you're going to see tonight. That time he takes it from the fullback position. They're running out of the eye right now. Dunwald's sitting in that fullback position. He just takes it again up the middle, and Dunwald showing some strength, picking up a few yards, but it's going to put him in a third and pretty long situation, which is very difficult against this tough Gator defense.
Yeah, 9:35 to go first quarter. Again, Justin Clark under center, in motion. And he hands off to Cameron Hardy around the right side. And Hardy is brought down by Sean McLeod near the 35, 36-yard line. It's going to be a 4th and 4 for Freeport. An obvious punting situation deep in their own territory. And the punter is Pablo Valadez?
Valadez, yes.
Valadez.
That time they were just trying to get Hardy on a jet sweep, and he's just not able to break free from such a quick Gator defense.
Now McLaughlin is back at his 35-yard line awaiting the punt. And it's a poor snap. Valadez does get it away. McLaughlin just backs off, and the ball will just roll to a stop about the 38-yard line. And that's where the Gators take over first and 10 with 8:43 to go in this first quarter. No score. So the Gators, they don't force a 3-and-out, but they do stop on the second series and force a punt. And now the Gators in good field position from their 38. So, Seth, Freeport, they did make one first down, but they seem to struggle offensively. But now we just saw one of their players slip on the punt coverage, so the field is still wet and slippery from this rain.
Yes.
Quarterback Peyton Rockwell under center, hands off to Junior McLaughlin right side. Bouncing out. He's across the 50, the 45, and tackled. A touchdown-saving tackle at the 40-yard line by Tobias Holmes. But a great run, about a 20-yard run there for Junior McLaughlin.
And Holmes just kept McLaughlin from getting a one run or a one carry, about 60-yard run for a touchdown on his first play from scrimmage. That way he was the last line of defense and does the smart thing, wraps up Junior's ankles, but a great run by Junior.
Yeah, 22 yards on that carry. And again, Junior this time to the left side, breaks one tackle, a second tackle. He's to the 20, the 15. He's got one man to beat. He stiff arms him. And he is out at the 1-yard line in a touchdown-saving tackle again by Cameron Hardy. But that's about a 39-yard run by Junior McLaughlin as he's forced out just inside the 1-yard line.
And you would think he's starting to pick on Hardy a little bit, getting out there. But Junior McLaughlin, again, this time to the opposite side, coming to this near side, gets a great block by his left tackle, Taylor Barrow, who sets the edge. And then McLaughlin just showing his strength, breaking off a weak tackle, and takes it all the way down to the 1-yard line. Don't be surprised if he takes it up the gut for a touchdown. Yeah,
nice stiff arm by McLaughlin. He gets the carry, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Baker Gators. 8:16 to go in the first. And on 3 plays, 62 yards and a 1-yard dive by Junior McLaughlin.
And let the top scorer do what he's done all season. Just take it right up the middle with some brute force and score the first touchdown, and the Gators will have a 6-0 lead.
And a great block by his fullback, Garen Mitchum, to help make that hold there. Now Brian Holly on for the extra point. And Seth, what's his stats on the year on these extra points? I know he has improved greatly.
Yeah, he's 26 of 33 after last week going 5 for 6. So yeah, throughout this season he's really just shown some great work kicking these extra points.
The holder is Peyton Rockwell. The kick is no good, goes to the right. Nonetheless, the Gators strike first and lead 6-0 back after this.
WTJT would like to thank Harris Fence of Baker, Florida for their support of WTJT and live coverage of Baker Gator football. Harris Fence offers a wide range of fencing services and supplies which include chain link, galvanized or vinyl coated, wood, privacy or picket, PVC, privacy, 3-rail, etc., and ornamental aluminum. They also offer various styles and brands. They do residential, commercial, and industrial work as well as offer free estimates and military and senior citizen discounts. Harris Fence is fully licensed and insured, and they have been serving Okaloosa, Walton, and Santa Rosa County for 21 years with 35 years experience. They are also a member of the Better Business Bureau. Harris Fence is located at 1588 Garrett Mill Road in Baker, Florida, and they can also be contacted by phone at 537-6169. Thanks again to Harris Fence and James and Rebecca Harris for your support of WTJT and our local football team.
And welcome back. Real quick, Seth, Crestview and Niceville also in the first round playoff game tonight. At the end of one quarter, Crestview 14, Niceville nothing. And once again, Brian Holly kicks the ball straight away, and it's picked up by Trey Hinckley back about the 5. He's trying to find somewhere to run, and all he sees is maroon, and he's going to be pushed back to about the 10-yard line. So these first two kicks by Brian Holly is different than what we have seen all year with the pooch kick, and the Baker kick coverage getting down there and taking care of business.
And that really threw off Freeport because Hinckley is sitting at about the 20, the 25, and that ball sails over his head. It's a live ball on a kickoff. If you don't beat that coverage team to that ball, you're going to risk a turnover. So Hinckley has to pick it up just about at his own 5 and just can't find any space.
Under center is Justin Clark, and he hands off to Tobias Holmes, and Holmes is met by Joe Brunson, one we talked about earlier. Joe makes the tackle after really no gains. Second down. Well, he lost a yard, Seth, back to the 9, so second down 11 for the Bulldogs. 7:49 to go in this first quarter. Baker on top 6-0, courtesy of a 1-yard dive by junior McLaughlin.
And Joe is just one of the absolute studs on this defense. On the year, 60 tackles, 30 solo, 30 assists, 12 tackles for loss. The sack leader with 7 as well. Watch for him to have a big night tonight. Again,
Justin Clark under center. A flag comes in. Had a man in motion. That was Cameron Hardy. It is illegal procedure against the Bulldogs. And Seth, from their 9-yard line, didn't need a 5-yard penalty to help their cause.
No, it's hard enough to get 10 yards against the Gators. Much more difficult to get 15 or 17 as it's going to be here, it looks like. So.
Yeah, second down and about 17 to go. 7:27 first quarter. Baker on top 6-0. Again, Justin Clark is under center. He's a senior quarterback for Freeport. And hands off, I believe that is, it's number 25, Tobias Holmes. He broke one tackle, but then he's brought down about the 8-yard line. Still going to bring up third down and 13 for the Bulldogs.
And surprisingly, we're about 6 or 9 plays deep with Freeport, and they have not given the ball yet to their leading rusher and receiver, Brandon Seipels. So curious when they're gonna bring him out and let him get the ball in his hands.
Yeah, Justin Clark again under center on third down and 13, and hands off to his fullback, and there's no gain on the play. Brings up now 4th and 13, and a dangerous punting situation for Freeport, with the ball at their 8-yard line, which will put the punter in the end zone.
Yeah, they try to keep it conservative on that 3rd and long and give it to the fullback and let him get up the middle and maybe create some space for their punter, but he's not going to get hardly anything. And now Valadez is going to be about 8 or 9 yards deep in his own end zone trying to punt this one away.
Yeah, he is literally in the shadow of the goalpost, and Junior stands about the 37-yard line of Freeport. A better snap this time. And the punt is wobbly. It rolls almost where Junior was standing and is down at the Freeport 37-yard line. Now, last time, Seth, from the 38 of Baker, it was Junior, and then a 1-yard dive. He covered the whole 62 yards on that first drive, and now they got 37 to go. So this may be A really quick score for the Gators. There's an official timeout with 5:52 in the first quarter. It is Baker 6 and Freeport nothing. Back after this.
This radio ministry relies heavily upon its gracious supporters to survive, like Days Tire Pros in Crestview. In addition to tires with a national warranty, they have a complete car care center, providing brake jobs, front end and rear end alignments, oil change, lube and filter, shocks, belts, air conditioning, and so much more. Days is located where they've been for nearly 4 decades of service, on Highway 85 South, which is also home to Pack Rat Mini Storage. The phone number, 850-682-5088. Thanks, Kim and staff, for your support. Days Tire Pros, home of the hassle-free guarantee.
And welcome back to Baker. After about 25-yard punt by Freeport, Baker in great position at the Freeport 37. Rockwell hands off to Junior, and this time Junior, he's tripped. He fumbles the ball. It's still loose. Freeport. I thought Freeport had their set, but it looks like no. I'm still waiting for an official signal from the officials.
There was a lot happening right there. Several flags were thrown in as Junior was stripped, and I'm not sure if Freeport might have recovered based on their celebration. So we got a face mask against the defense, and Baker's going to retain possession and add 15 yards to boot.
Now, we were talking about the turnovers earlier. As far as turnovers, Baker is at plus 15. Is that right? Or plus 11?
Plus 11.
Now, and I was trying to remember, has he fumbled the ball at all this season? I can't recall just off the top of my head.
I believe he's only had 1 fumble. The Gators as a team have only had 4 fumbles, lost 3 of them, so they don't fumble very often. It's very hard to strip these Gators. They're very strong and have very sound fundamentals when it comes to holding onto the football. So that was a rarity right there, but the face mask might have contributed to Junior losing the ball. But, again, it won't matter as the Gators get that 15-yard face mask, and now we'll set up again at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, great field position for Baker at the Freeport 20-yard line. 5:46 to go. There's still some conversation between two of the officials. Head coach Sean Hart, when asked about how do you stop Junior, his reply was, well, one man hopefully will grab a piece of him somewhere, and the rest of the guys will swarm to him. That was the first time I've seen Freeport actually swarm to Junior McLaughlin, and it worked. There was only about 4 or 5 guys for Freeport, but it worked that time except for the face mask penalty.
And that's a lot of times what you have to do. Unless you can really wrap up his legs, if you're strong enough to grab them and pull him down that way, you really do just have to slow him down long enough for another couple of guys to help you pull him down, because he's so strong and he keeps those feet churning, just continually moving and continually making progress, and that's why he's been such a prolific runner all season.
5:46 to go in the first quarter. There's still some discussion among 3 of the officials. Freeport has had 2 possessions, forced to punt. Baker, this is their second possession. They score on a 1-yard dive that started at their 38-yard line and went 62 yards in 3 plays. And now Baker, the ball resting at the Freeport 20. And now they move it back to the 22, which that's where it should have been. It was at the 37 to begin with. A 15-yard penalty would put it at the 22-yard line. So I guess that's what this discussion may have been about. Nonetheless, there's a whistle. And now here's Peyton Rockwell under center. Quarterback keeper rolls right. He bootlegs. He's got blockers out there. Peyton is still going. He's inside the 10 to the 5-yard line. And a great run by Peyton on that little bootleg.
Yeah, that's a great run by Peyton. He has the option to pass there, looks downfield, makes the quick decision to tuck it and run, and gets plenty of yards, and he's going to take it up the sideline, get a good first down, and they're going to be even deeper in the red zone, looking to score again, like you said, quickly.
But there's a holding penalty against the Gators. Carter Mason providing great protection for Peyton on that bootleg, but now a holding penalty will nullify a nice run by Peyton, and they place the ball back at the Freeport 20-yard line with 5:34 to go in the first quarter, and Baker on top 6-0. Now, it's still first down, and now it's like it's 1st and 8. And this time, Junior on the handoff bounces off one of his offensive linemen and plunges ahead to about the 15 or 17-yard line. Be about a 3-yard pickup, brings up 2nd down 5 for the Gators.
And Junior with some great patience. Like you said, as soon as he gets the ball, he pauses for a minute, looks until he can find a hole, follows behind his big O lineman, and is able to pick up a few yards there and give him a 2nd and 5 to work with now.
Well, the head coach for Freeport, Sean Hartz, said that Junior runs with a vengeance. And that's patience but vengeance. Again, Junior on the handoff, dives right across the goal, the line of scrimmage, gains about 4 yards this time. Going to bring up 3rd down and about 1 from the 12-yard line.
You can definitely see the vengeance in Junior as he runs right up the middle, just lowers those shoulder pads, and he lays some hits on those defensive linemen and linebackers for Freeport. He's done it all season. He, like you said, he just runs with such force that he doesn't care. He's going to lay a hit on them as well.
I formation for the Gators. And again, Junior on the handoff off the left side. And he's got the 1st down. They push him back, but his forward progress was to about the 11 or 10-yard line. And tackles made by 41 Trey Hinckley.
You know, we've talked about it all season. You know what's coming 9 times out of 10 is Junior McLaughlin's going to get the ball. He's going to run at you. The question is, can you stop him? And many teams have been answering emphatically, no, we can't stop him. And so we'll see tonight if Freeport gets worn down or if they're able to finally be the team that is able to contain number 2.
Yeah, Kenny Williams is back there at the fullback position. Junior takes a handoff again and pushes his way forward. And he's tackled this time by Justin Clark, who's also the quarterback for Freeport, and makes the tackle on Junior McLaughlin. Junior gets to about the 9-yard line. It's going to bring up 2nd down 8 for the Gators.
And the quarterback now having to come in. He says, I pass, I run, I do everything I have to do, and now I come on defense, I'll make a tackle as well. And he's able to pull Junior down after about a 2-yard gain. So great work by the quarterback/cornerback.
Exactly. 3:20 to go in the first quarter. Baker on top 6-0. Now Peyton Rockwell under center Dustin Oglesby. And hands off to Junior this time around the right side. Junior cuts it back inside. And Junior's into the end zone. Touchdown, Baker Gators.
And Junior just looked like a top spinning around out there. Once he got to about the 5-yard line, he makes a quick spin move and then just uses some more brute strength and bullies his way into the end zone. Another touchdown. 2 for 2 tonight for Junior.
Yeah, Seth, and we've talked all season. He's got some great guys up front. You know, the offensive line. Dustin Oglesby anchors the line at center. His guards, Carter Mason and Gavin Vaccarella, and the tackles, Zach Mason and Taylor Brown. They do a fantastic job. And not just them, but everyone, whoever does not have the ball is blocking for Junior McLaughlin. And now they're going for the 2 points here. And pitch back to Derek Peoples. And Peoples is into the end zone. And the 2-point conversion is good now. A flag comes in late. So we'll wait and see what the flag is for. But the 2-point conversion is good. And it's good to see Derek Peoples out there on that little pitch back.
And you see the absolute speed of Peoples on that sweep. Just completely outflanks the defenders and gets into the end zone for that 2-point conversion. But we'll await the flag and see if that's going to nullify a great 2-point conversion.
Well, it was thrown just as he crossed the goal line. So I couldn't tell anything from up here, but we'll wait and see what the guys in black and white say. And it's holding against the Gators. So they'll march them back about 10 yards to the 12-yard line, and I guess we'll try this again.
And again, something the Gators have really struggled with all season is holding and offensive penalties that have really been the only thing that's been able to stop them. Defenses haven't been able to contain this Gator offense. It's really the Gators have been their own worst enemy, especially with penalties like that. So we'll see now. They're going to have a lot longer 2-point conversion to convert, but certainly not impossible.
Well, it's an old cliche, but the only ones that can stop the Gators is themselves, and they've proven that here. You say they struggled. They've been successful with the penalties from where I've seen it. 3:08 to go, first quarter, 12-0 Baker, and now the 2-point try again. Now Peyton back to pass, gets out to Junior. He makes the grab. Who's to the 10, the 5. He's in the end zone for the 2-point conversion, and it's good again.
And, you know, it's too bad that doesn't count for Peyton's passing record. That's a great dump-off screen pass to Junior McLaughlin, who gets the 2-point conversion.
Well, he had 2 Bulldogs right in his face. One was the very tall Caden Inns, but he gets that ball off quickly to Junior, and Junior just busts through and breaks tackles. He's in the end zone. So now 14-0, Baker on top, back after this.
Milligan Assembly of God is a proud sponsor of Baker Gator football. Our service times are on Sundays at 9:30 for Sunday school, 10:30 for morning worship, and 6 p.m. for Sunday night explosion. Our midweek service is on Wednesday nights starting at 7 p.m., and there's something for every age group of the family. You can connect with us at mag.church, and you can check us out on Facebook. From Pastor Mike White and the congregation of Milligan Assembly of God, we want to say,
Go Gators, yeah!
And welcome back to Baker. 2 Junior McLaughlin touchdowns and a 2-point conversion on this last try, and your score is Baker 14, Freeport nothing, with 3:08 to go in this opening quarter. It's the first round of the playoffs. Now, last year, Seth, this very time, Baker and Jay faced off, and Baker won 42-6. And right now it's 14-0. Again, straightaway kick. And Freeport, I believe that was Dunwald, who takes the ball back about his 10. He slipped, and then he buzzed through, and he's out to the 37-yard line. So a great return by the Bulldogs to the 36 actually, but a great return by the Bulldogs on that kickoff.
Yeah, Dunwald makes a great recovery from the slip. As soon as he gets the ball, it looks like he's going to fall, but like you said, recovers, plants that foot, and then just takes off. But the Gator coverage team is able to drop him pretty quick and still probably farther back than a pooch kick would have allowed.
Well, I was impressed by his speed. He shot like a bullet through there. Quarterback Justin Clark under center for the Bulldogs, 1st and 10 from the 36. And hands off to Seipels, and he shows his Junior McLaughlin impression as he's out across the 45-yard line to the 48. A great run by Brandon Seipels for Freeport.
And Seipels says, hey, there's another number 2 in the stadium that might be number 1 on the field. And so Seipels, with his first run of the night, takes it right up the heart of this Gator defense and gets about a 12-yard run for a first down.
It is a 12-yard run. 1st and 10, Freeport from their 48. 2:45 to go in this first quarter, and it's Baker 14, Freeport nothing. Yeah, Coach Brunson told me today it was going to be number 2 versus number 2, and I wasn't sure what he meant at first. I thought he was talking about offense versus defense, and then it hit me. Seipels and McLaughlin. This time it's Dunwald, and he is brought down. The ball comes loose, but I believe it's whistled down, but he ran into, looked like Trey Colmetz and Kenny Williams, and just that entire front defensive line for the Gators. A very stout, staunch, stingy, greedy defensive front for the Gators.
All of those words apply.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had 3 shutouts this season, and the most points allowed was a 20-point run by South Walton. The rest of them have been 6, 7, or 14 points, but a very greedy defense. And we're down to 1:48 to go in the first. 2nd down and 8 for Freeport from midfield. In motion is Cameron Hardy. And the handoff is to Seipels. He finds an opening. He's across the 40-yard line and forced out of bounds near the 35 by Trey Colmetz and Joe Brunson.
And that time the Gators bite on the inside handoff and don't see Seipels as he gets the ball on the sweep and reverses in the opposite direction, heading out to that far side and just has nothing but green grass until he gets into the secondary, and Trey Colmetz is able to entice him to go out of bounds.
Yeah, 14-yard run by Brandon Seipels. It is 1st and 10 Freeport at the Baker 36. A minute 33 left in this opening quarter. Baker on top 14-0. Again, Justin Clark under a center. And handoff is to Seipels again. And this time he is met at the line of scrimmage. Eric McQueen, Trey Colmetz, Carter Mason leading the pack, and they drive him back. But they give his progress to about the 34-yard line, a 2-yard pickup. 2nd down 8 for the Bulldogs from the Baker 34. A minute 10 to go in the first.
That time Seipels just trying to go up the middle once again. It's a huge battle in the trenches between a pretty good offensive line and a very good defensive line, and that time I think the D-line won the battle and holds Seipels to that short gain.
2nd down and 8. Play clock is down to 17, and the Bulldogs still in the huddle. The center is Devin Cosen. Justin Clark, quarterback. In motion is Cameron Hardy. And now Clark back to pass, and he overthrows his man. He's going for the very tall Caden Inns, who wants a flag, but Bradley Inscore there on the coverage. No flag, and it's 3rd down 8 for the Bulldogs.
Inns isn't going to get that. That's a fairly uncatchable ball, and Inscore is also just playing great defense over the top. And Inns has been one of the better receivers for the Bulldogs this year. 12 catches, 125 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. Like you said, he's one of the taller receivers, but Clark immediately had guys in his face, and there was just no way he was going to be able to make a great pass under that kind of pressure.
Yeah, he is 6'2", and Bradley Inscore is not, but Craig covers that time by Bradley Inscore on Caden Inns. And this time handoff goes to Seipels. He busts right through the middle, and he's out across close to the 25-yard line. And tackle made by Trey Colmetz. And I believe Brad Inscore also in on the tackle.
That's a surprise. A 3rd and long run right up the middle from Freeport. And Seipels, like you said, doing a pretty good Junior McLaughlin impression there. He's going to be very close to a 1st down. Check that. That is going to be a 1st down. Move those chains. So impressive work by Freeport here. Their 3rd drive of the night, and now they're moving into Gator territory, very close to the red zone.
Yeah, there's some very tall players, too. The center is 6'3". That's number 68, Devin Cosen. And then Caden Inns is 6'2", so they got some very tall players on their team. Some pretty big guys. We're down to the final few seconds of this first quarter, and that's going to wrap it up. At the end of one quarter, it is Baker 14, Freeport nothing. Back after this.
WTJT would like to thank Jason Norton and Baker Metalworks for allowing us to bring live Baker Gator football coverage to the listeners of WTJT. Baker Metalworks offers a large variety of colors, and they are all Energy Star rated. They have 4 profile styles with 29 and 26 gauge. They also have delivery available, and all of their materials are Florida product approved. Baker Metalworks is located at 5846 Highway 189 in Baker. They can be reached by phone at 850-537-2010. Thanks again to Baker Metalworks for all of your support here at WTJT.
Hi, this is Tony from Baker Feed and Country Store. The Baker Gator football season is back, and we are proud supporters of WTJT's live Baker Gator football program. Baker Feed and Country Store has all your fall food plot, seed, and fertilizer needs, along with corn, rice bran, pellets, and blocks. We carry Justin boots, belts, wallets, and Wrangler jeans. Baker Feed and Country Store is located on the right at the light in downtown Baker and can be reached by phone 537-1000. Again, that's 537-1000. Go Gators!
And the second quarter is underway here from Baker. Freeport 1st and 10 from the 26. Pitch back to Seipel, right side. Finds a little opening. John Metalaska makes a grab for him and falls short. Then he's brought down by Bradley Inscore, and also Devin Jordan, Eric McQueen on the tackle. And so Seipels is showing his speed on the outside, picks up about 6 yards, 2nd down 4 for the Bulldogs from the 19-yard line of the Gators.
And it's difficult to run against this Gator defense, and even more difficult to run laterally. But that time, Seipels is able to get outside, like you said, find a little crease, and he's going to pick up a good 6 or 7 yards on 1st down.
Yeah, 11:22, second quarter now. A flag comes in. And that looks like it may go against the Bulldogs. Or correction, it is offsides on the Gators. So that's 5 yards, and that will be a 1st down for Freeport. And the ball is at the Baker 14-yard line.
Now the Gators already with about 3 penalties for 25 yards. So showing up early, hurting themselves a little bit with these penalties and giving Freeport a free 1st down.
Yeah, 1st and 10 from the 14. And Justin Clark hands off again to Brendan Seipels, who he just busts right through that middle. He's across the 10-yard line. Tackle made by Joshua Gamble.
And another solid first down run from Seipels, and he's just going right into the teeth of this Gator defense, trying to wear out a D-line that hasn't faced such a potent running back in that of one like Seipels. And right now, him and his offensive line are winning this battle in the trenches at the moment.
A correction, Seth, that was Carter Mason. I apologize. Carter Mason on the tackle. 2nd down and 5 from the 9-yard line for Freeport. And this time he hands off to Dunwald. And Dunwald just runs into several Gators led by John Metalaska. But he's to the 5-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about a yard.
And Dunwald, a great asset coming from that fullback position. He's got a lot of power, and as soon as he gets that ball, he just lowers his shoulder, maintains good protection of that football, and picks up good yardage on 2nd down to give him a 3rd and short.
Again, I formation. This time Justin Clark, quarterback keeper, just bowls his way straight ahead. And he's very close to the goal line. They signal or mark him just a few inches shy. But Justin Clark, quarterback keeper, and he moves his Dogs a little bit closer to a potential touchdown. 9:56 to go in this second quarter. Baker on top 14-0. 1st and goal for Freeport. And Seth, that ball looks like it's right on the goal line.
And look for another quarterback keeper here from Justin Clark right over the top of that big center he's got.
And you're right, Seth. He just dives right behind that big 6'3" center of his. And it's touchdown Freeport Bulldogs.
How about that? Freeport on their 3rd drive of the night is going to answer after Brandon Seipels comes in and shows what he has on the ground. Sets up his team. 1st and goal, the quarterback takes it in for a touchdown, and we're going to have a ball game here tonight.
Well, Coach Matt Brunson said that our 2 versus their 2 should be very interesting. He called that one. And now for the extra point is Pablo Valadez, a freshman kicker for Freeport. Awaits the snap from the center. And now flag comes in, took a little bit too much time when someone moved on the offense or on the kick team, so they'll back him up 5 yards and try this one more time.
And Valadez struggling a little bit with extra points on the season. He's 17 of 28. He's also attempted 3 field goals. He's 1 of 3 with a 30-yard field goal early on in the season.
And here he'll be trying this one from the 15, so this will be a 25-yard extra point attempt. Now, he is just a freshman. And here we go one more time. There's the snap. The ball is down. The kick is up, and it's through the uprights. It is good. 9:39 to go in the second quarter, and your new score is now Baker 14, Freeport 7. Back after this.
WTJT and the Baker Gators are proud to recognize Baker Parts in downtown Baker as a sponsor of live coverage of Baker Gator football. Baker Parts has auto parts and hardware for all household needs. Baker Parts is located at 1304 Georgia Avenue in Baker, and their phone number is 537-3131 or 537-4231. Thanks, Danny, and all the staff at Baker Parts for helping to make coverage of Baker Gator football possible on WTJT.
And welcome back to Baker after a 1-yard dive by quarterback Justin Clark for the Freeport Bulldogs. It is now Baker 14, Freeport 7, 9:39 to go in the second quarter. And now Valadez will kick off for the Bulldogs. And back deep is Junior, McLaughlin, and Brad Inscore. It's a little, I don't know what you call that, I guess a squib top kick, but a flag comes down. Looks like it's offsides against Freeport.
Yeah, the Gunners got a little over-anxious there, and they crossed that line before the ball's kicked.
Derek Peoples and Junior McLaughlin back. Now, Seth, who is faster, Derek or Junior?
I think Derek has a little bit more track speed. He's a little bit faster when he gets into open space, but he doesn't quite have the power that Junior has, and maybe not quite as much of the elusiveness as Junior has.
Yeah, Coach
Both
Brunson.
great runners, sorry.
That's okay. Coach Brunson said that Junior is like a beast in that weight room. Just really works hard on those weights.
And it shows.
Exactly. Again, a little squib kick. And it's going to be Junior and he got face masked something fierce. At least it looked like it from up here.
Yeah, and there is a flag because that was about as obvious as they come.
If me and you can see, or if I can see it, yeah. But Junior had that burst of speed, and I failed to see who grabbed his face mask, but he did like a 180. And it's a miracle that Junior, is still out there because that looked like it hurt.
I thought I saw a flag. Apparently I'm mistaken. There was no flag thrown.
Well, maybe he didn't grab the face mask, but it sure looked like it from here. Regardless, it is 1st and 10 Baker from their 41-yard line. And Peyton hands off to Derek Peoples, and he's got nowhere but green grass ahead of him. What a run by Derek Peoples. He just burst through there like a bullet out of a gun. 59 yards. And I'll get right in a minute. 59-yard run by Derek Peoples, and Baker back to a 2-touchdown lead.
There's your speed right there. Nobody touches him as Peoples just has a wide open lane. His offense basically part of the Red Sea right there. Gave him all the room in the world, and Peoples just burst right through up the field, and nobody's going to catch him when he's in green grass like that.
When you talk about going untouched, he literally went untouched. No one touched him. But he took that ball and just burst through there like a rocket. And it is 20-7. And now for the extra point, Brian Holly. This kick is up, and it's good. 9:23 to go in the second quarter. Your new score, Baker 21, Freeport 7. Back after this.
WTJT would like to say thank you to the Okaloosa County Teachers Federal Credit Union for supporting our coverage of Baker Gator football. Okaloosa County Teachers Federal Credit Union offers a wide variety of financial services with 4 locations, including the Baker branch location at the entrance to Baker School next to the Gator Cafe. They can be reached at 850-537-9815 or on the web at OkaloosaFCU.org. You can be a member of the credit union if you live, work, or worship, or attend school in Okaloosa County. For all your financial needs, it's Okaloosa County Teachers Federal Credit Union, achieving goals together.
And welcome back to Doug Griffith Memorial Stadium. A 59-yard dash by Derek Peoples. And it was ironic, Seth, I just asked who was faster, Junior or Derek. Junior may be, well, they're both fast, no doubt about it, but that looked like the flash. Derek Peoples with that run. And it is 21-7 with 9:23 to go until the half. And for the first tonight, Brian Holly pooch kicks right out of bounds. And maybe that's why he's not been pooch kicking this game until now. I don't know. But anyway, Freeport now takes over.
Well, now that we've seen their returnman, Dunwald with that great return on the last kick, so might have decided that they better go ahead and continue what's been working all season, which is pooch kick it either out of bounds or short. And that's still going to be about the same field position that they would have had before, right there about the 35-yard line.
Exactly. Well, I recall Coach Brunson when I asked about the pooch kick, the strategy. He talked about whether it prevents any kind of return, because in his first 7 years as head coach here, his opponents had 9 touchdowns returned on a kickoff. So that was one reason. I mean, that's not a bad average, but still, I guess that's 9 too many for Coach Brunson.
Oh, absolutely.
1st and 10, Freeport. And Clark hands off to Hardy, and he slips down about the 30-yard line.
And the grass monster here in the swamp is no respecter of persons. It'll take out its own team, and this time it works in the Gators' favor again as he takes down Cameron Hardy.
Yeah, we've seen several players on both sides slip down. Like we've had rain all week long, and it's rained again today, and it's not now, thank God. But the field's still slick. It's a 4-yard loss by Cameron Hardy back to the 31-yard line. So now 2nd down 14 for the Bulldogs, and it's Brendan Sipes on the handoff, and he is met in the backfield and dropped quickly by Carter Mason. Carter Mason showing his speed as a defensive lineman, bringing down Brendan Sipes.
At the time, the offensive line just was not able to block nearly any of the defensive line for the Gators, as Carter Mason is in the backfield almost completely untouched and just drags Sipes to the ground before he can find any open area to run.
Yeah, in fact, it looks like he may have actually lost maybe a yard back to the 30. So now 3rd down and about 15 from the 30. Well, it's the 31-yard line, actually, 3rd and 14. 8 minutes to go until the half. Baker on top, 21-7 over Freeport. Pitch back to Brandon Sipes, and he is met quickly again by Carter Mason, who drags him down. Then he gets some help from his teammates, but it's a very short game. Brings up 4th and about 11 yards for the first.
And that's the kind of drive that we're accustomed to seeing from this Gator defense, forcing a 3-and-out and causing some loss of yardage there. And the Gators just swarming to the ball right now like a team possessed, and Cyples just has absolutely nowhere to run. And Carter Mason just a force to be reckoned with on this line tonight.
Indeed. Valadez back to punt for the Bulldogs. McLaughlin back at his 40-yard line. And it's a good punt. Junior fields it right at his 30-yard line. He slips, and now he gets a head start, and he's running and still going his across midfield, and he gets to the 45-yard line. A nice return by Junior McLaughlin after what could have been not much of a gain, as he slips back about the 36-yard line, and he gets out to the 45 of Freeport.
And I'll say, if there's one thing you don't want to do as Freeport is kick a punt directly to Junior McLaughlin. He's already had 2 punt returns for touchdowns this year, about 124 yards. I mean, he's just an absolute stud. And you saw there the patience. He makes a couple of quick moves with his hips, and the defenders just have no idea what he's going to do. And then he just splits them, comes up the field, and now he's going to cross midfield and give the Gators great position at the Freeport 45-yard line.
Yeah, but a 19-yard return. 7:33 to go until the half. 1st and 10 Freeport, or Baker from the Freeport 45. Pitch back to Derek Peoples, and Derek Peoples looked like he was going to go somewhere, Seth, and then he slips down about the 30 or 44-yard line, and tackle was made by Kobe Phillips.
Yeah, and it looked like he was trying to get outside on the toss play, but the turf must be really slick tonight, as we're seeing more and more players are kind of sliding around out there before they can really get their feet set and make some moves. But people still able to pick up a couple yards and make that a productive first down.
Yeah, 2nd down, 8 for Baker from the Freeport 43, 6:55 to go until the half. And this time handoff is to Junior, and he slips down. He was met there by Brian DeAnda, but I believe the grass got him before DeAnda did. And he loses a yard back to the 44-yard line. Now 3rd down, 9 for the Gators. Clock rolling at 6:35 until the half.
They have to check the spikes on their cleats at halftime, make sure they're ready to go in the second half. The turf is making more tackles than the defenses are tonight.
Sam Croson comes into the Baker lineup on 3rd down and 9 from the Freeport 44-yard line.
And don't be surprised if we see a little play-action pass here, maybe getting the tight ends involved.
Yeah, Sam Croson comes in. Peyton Rockwell goes out for the moment. Peoples in motion. Peoples with a handoff behind the blocking of Taylor Barrow, and not much room there for Derek Peoples. He gets about a yard or so, and this could be 4th and 9 for Baker. Now, Seth, in this situation, do you expect a punt here? It's 4th and 9, and you gained only a yard, in 3 plays.
You might see a rugby style or a pooch punt here on 4th and long, and that's something we're not accustomed to seeing very often. Is the Gators having what would be a 3-and-out should they decide to punt, but it looks like Coach Brunson's going to roll the dice here and see if they can get a 4th down conversion on this 4th and 8.
Sam Croson still in the quarterback for the Gators, and pitches back to McLaughlin, and he is brought down quickly by number 17, Caden Enns. Throws him down back about midfield. And so the Dogs, they rise to the occasion and force the Gators to turn over on downs. And Freeport takes over 1st and 10 from their 49-yard line.
And what impressive work by this Freeport defense, forcing that 3-and-out and then hold them on that 4th down conversion. Junior just had absolutely nowhere to run. Caden Enns just coming in, wrapping him up and making a great form tackle and bringing him to the ground. And so now Freeport also with good starting field position at about midfield, or just at their own 49.
5:20 until the half. We have an official timeout. Baker 21, Freeport 7. Back after this.
Thank you, Brackney Funeral Service in Crestview, for your support. Brackney Funeral Service is located on Highway 90 East. They are locally owned and operated and provide all the traditional funeral services, including burials and cremations. And the telephone number is 683-9898. 683-9898. Terry Brackney is the funeral director. Again, thanks, Terry and Brackney Funeral Service for giving to WTJT.
Baker Football is a production of Jock Jive Sports. This fall on JockJive.com, Georgia Military College Football, SIAC Football, the Great American Rivalries, ACCC Game of the Week, SWAC Volleyball and Soccer, Tuskegee Football, Navarre and Baker Football, and much, much more. Be sure to follow Jock Jive on Twitter and Facebook. On Twitter, we're at JockJive, and on Facebook, simply put Jock Jive Sports in the search engine. We give you scores, schedules, game highlights, event updates, and more. Twitter and Facebook, a great way to keep up with Jock Jive Sports.
And 5:20 to go until the half. Baker 21, Freeport 7, 5:20 left until halftime. Freeport first and 10 from their 49. In motion goes Hardy, and Justin Clark hands off to Brandon Seipels, and Seipels is across midfield to the 45 to about the 44-yard line, and tackle made by Zach Mason. Got a few scores for you. In the second, Jay shutting out Bozeman 21-0. It is Northview over Graceville 20-8 in the second. And Navarre shutting out Pace 17-0 in the second. And here is 21-7. Justin Clark, quarterback keeper. Tackled by Joe Brunson after a short gain to about the Baker 41-yard line. But it's enough for the first down.
Justin Clark showed himself as a formidable runner, especially on these short yardage situations, just able to get just enough to pull off a first down and, as we saw earlier, get the touchdown.
4:36 to go until the half. Baker 21, Freeport 7, and the Dogs first and 10 from the Gator 41-yard line. Quarterback is the senior Justin Clark. He's under center, Cosen. In motion is Hardy. Bobbles the snap, that hands off to Seipels. Seipels twists and turns, and he's met by John Metalaska, Joe Brunson, and Kenny Williams. About a yard pickup. Seth brings up second down 9 for the Bulldogs.
And Seipels trying to make something happen on that right side. Like you said, he gets past the line of scrimmage and then tries to make a spin, and he just has absolutely nowhere to run. These strong linebackers in Metalaska and Williams just aren't letting him go. And they pull him down after that about 1 yard gain.
Yeah, 3:47 until the half. Second down 9, Freeport. Ball at the Baker 40. Again, I formation for the Dogs. In motion is Cameron Hardy. Justin Clark pitch back to Seipels around the right side, trying to find somewhere to go. And he's pursued by Sean McLeod. And the Gators bring him down about the 39. Another yard pickup, and now third down 8 for the Bulldogs from the Gator 39-yard line.
And trying to run outside, the right tackle is just not quite able to set the edge, and the linebackers just have so much speed. They're breaking through, and that time Seipels just, again, can't find any green grass, and he's going to be taken down after about another 1 yard gain. So a third and long situation here, and the Bulldogs really need to convert and use this last bit of time to try to put up a score before halftime, as the Gators will get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, 2:50 to go. Both teams have 3 timeouts. Again, I formation. And the handoff again goes to Seipels. He slips down. He was met by Joe Brunson, but I believe the grass may have got him first. Nonetheless, he is dropped at the 40-yard line. And now 4th and 9 for Freeport. Ironically, just the same as it was for the Gators just a few plays ago. But now 4th and 9 from the Baker 40. Now Freeport is in punt formation.
I don't anticipate a fake here.
Well, Brandon Seipels is one of the up backs. And also Dunwald is back there. So wouldn't be surprised to see a fake. Junior is at about his 12-yard line just in case. And there's still some discussion, some confusion. Now the play clock down to 0 and the game clock still rolling at 1:52. And timeout taken by Freeport. Baker 21, Freeport 7.
Yeah, I think the Freeport wanted to run the clock down as far as it could, so they let the play clock get to almost zero and called one of their timeouts to give Baker as minimal time as possible. I'm not sure if there's any confusion. I believe that was a planned strategic move right there to get the game clock down to under 2 minutes to give the Gators the shortest amount of time possible. But the Gators are still going to have all three of their timeouts as Freeport punts this one away.
Right. Well, that was a good plan they had, but as we've seen numerous times this season, the Gators don't need a lot of time to score points.
10 seconds or less or you're touchdown back.
Exactly. It is down to a minute 52, 4th and 9 Freeport from the Baker 40. Valadez back to punt. And he does punt it away. It's a short one. It will bounce about the 20-yard line. Rolls down to the 10. Junior picks it up. Tries to run. And he gains maybe 5 yards. Made it exciting there for just a moment. But he is dropped quickly. But Junior gets the ball to about his 14-yard line.
Yeah, I like his tenacity there. He waits until the ball bounces right up to him. He's got two Freeport Bulldogs on either side and decides to see where he can go with that one. But he's going to be taken down with a minimal return. So they're going to start out at about their own 15. So it'll be an 85-yard drive here, and they'll get to work on their 2-minute drill.
We may have been trying to lull the Bulldogs to sleep by thinking he's just going to let it roll. And then he picks it up, and it might would have paid off. And it's Junior carrying the ball. He's across the 20-yard line. Tackle made by Brian DeAnda. About a 6-yard run, 7-yard run for Junior. Brings up second down and about 3 yards to go for the first. Clock down to a minute 25.
The Gators should be utilizing some good clock management here. Still got 3 timeouts. Plenty of time to put up another score.
And again, Junior on the carry. He finds a hole. He's across midfield. He's to the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. They won't stop him. Touchdown, Baker Gators.
So a little bit longer than 10 seconds, about 45 seconds on that drive, and the Gators with another touchdown. Junior McLaughlin's third of the night.
Well, you called that one, Seth. You said it wouldn't take long, and it didn't. And if I'm not mistaken, that's about a 79-yard run by Junior McLaughlin. He just cuts to the outside, finds a hole, gets some great blocks from that right side of the line. Zach Mason and Gavin Vaccarella, and he just bursts through and goes well, he might have been touched, but he goes through the last 30 yards untouched.
A couple of fingertips might have got him, but important to mention, besides that line, Derek Peoples following him all the way, showing that great speed, running beside him and also getting blocks, and then Junior just takes it the rest of the way. So great work by the wide receiver running back. Peoples also setting some great blocks and giving Junior that space to run.
And Brian Holly is good again. It is Baker 28, Freeport 7, and down just a little bit, I guess a bit south of us, it is now Crestview 21, Niceville nothing. So those Bulldogs are over the Eagles. But also congratulations to Derek Peoples. Last week, he was Channel 3 or Baker's Scholar Athlete of the Week on Channel 3 Sports. So congratulations to Derek Peoples on being named Scholar Athlete. So the Gators go back up now by 3 touchdowns, 28-7. We have a minute 7 to go until the half. And then also Baker gets the ball to begin the third quarter, which could be not so good for Freeport.
Well, if you're Freeport here, you're probably anticipating another pooch kick, we're assuming here. And if that's the case, they could potentially get the ball at their own 35 or 40, so 60 yards and maybe just over a minute, still with a couple of timeouts to work with. So not impossible for them to put up another score before this half ends.
And he does pooch kick it once more, right out of bounds. And that'll give Freeport the ball first and 10, I believe the 35-yard line. And they'll have 67 seconds and 2 timeouts and 65 yards to go.
And as we mentioned before, Freeport, a solid passing team behind the quarterback Justin Clark. So we may see him in this final drive put some balls in the air. But it looks like the Bulldogs are going to elect for a re-kick here.
They are indeed. They are lining up for another kickoff. Freeport had one drive for a touchdown, and not much since then. And I was trying to recall, Seth, where they started that drive at. Was it in Baker territory? Because it seemed like it was a short drive they had that they scored the touchdown on. I'm not sure now. But anyway, here goes Brian Holly. Another pooch kick. This one stays inbounds, and a fair catch is called by number 75, Fernando Rodriguez, and a flag.
And that was a kick-catch interference. The up-back for Freeport called the fair catch, and I believe he was bumped into by one of the gunners for the Gators, and if that is the case, that'll be a 15-yard penalty, and Freeport might have the ball at the Gator 35.
Because he made the fair catch at the 50-yard line.
Correct. Looks like
that's one of the big offensive linemen that made the fair catch.
Yeah, it was. I believe, was that number 70?
Number 75, Fernando Rodriguez.
So great work.
So now we'll wait for them to sort this one out. In the meantime, Brian Holly getting a lot of exercise, a lot of practice kicking the ball. And are they going to kick it again? Looks like they're going to kick it again, Seth.
It looks like. So another re-kick here.
Yeah, Fernando Rodriguez, he's one of the shorter offensive linemen. He's only 6 foot.
A very big, like you said, a pretty big offensive line that the backs have to run behind.
So now Brian Holly kicking off from his 30-yard line, and I believe for about the 4th time here in a row. Now he just kicks it straight away, and it's going to be Dunwall. He drops it, now picks it up. He slips, and he is clobbered by Sean McLeod.
So
and also Trey Coleman. I'm sorry, Steph, go ahead.
No, you're good. So if you're Freeport here, you might be regretting that decision to elect for a re-kick compared to getting the ball at the 50-yard line. Now you're going to be back at your own 30. So from a 50-yard drive to now a 70-yard drive in about 61 seconds.
I'm sure Jarrett Dunwall regrets that because he called it, slipped, then got up again, and then got clobbered, like I say, by Trey Coleman. And Sean McLeod just laid him out about the 29-yard line. 1:01 to go. Justin Clark is under center. Hardy in motion, and the handoff goes to Sipes, and he is just hog-tied by Kenny Williams and Trey Coleman, Brandon Siples, and they just take him back to about, well, they give his progress to the 30, but they took him back about 5 yards.
Yeah, he just had no room to run. Siples is trying to find some space on that left side, but Kenny Williams and Trey Coleman just don't give him anywhere to go, and they're playing so close to that line. They're keeping about 9 guys in the box, and the Gators are just absolutely not giving them any chance to run.
2nd down, 9. And again, handoff goes to Dunwall this time, and he's brought down Trey Colemetz.
And that time it looked like he was found again first by Kenny Williams and then Trey Colemetz and John Madaleska coming in to help finish him off. And it looks like Coach Brunson is going to elect to take one of his timeouts. He might want the ball back. You know, they can score in about 10 seconds, so might as well make another chance here.
Obviously, there are 19 seconds to play. It is 3rd down and 10 for Freeport from their 29-yard line. But, you know, this defense, they've been called staunt and just stingy and stout, and they're very greedy and very fast on that front 5.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about them. So the defense this season: 21 sacks, 16 QB hurries, 4 picks, 38 pass deflections, 24 fumbles, 15 of which they recovered, 1 defensive touchdown, and 1 block punt touchdown. Excuse me. So yeah, this defense is really one of the best in this area. I mean, we've already talked about, they forced 3 shutouts. Most of their games they've allowed 7 points or less. I mean, they are just an absolute force to be reckoned with. And Freeport, another team that just can't find much success against them.
So now 3rd down and 11 for Freeport, back at their 28-yard line, 19 seconds. And again, Justin Clark stays under center. And handoff to Siples. And Seipels is brought down by Brad Inscore. A great tackle right there in open field, and then gets some help from Kenny Williams. But Brad Inscore just took his legs out from underneath Seipels, and now is 4th and about 10 from the 29-yard line. And another timeout called by Baker with 13 seconds to play. And Seth, you may be right. Coach Brunson may want to punch it in one more time before the half.
And he might as well. I mean, you have so much momentum on your side right now, for one thing. You're ahead 28-7 in the first half in the first playoff game, and your offense is just on a roll. So, yeah, why not give them another chance? If you get a good punt return from Junior McLaughlin, who's more than capable, shoot, don't be surprised if the Gator special teams really come after this punt and end up with their, I believe, 3rd block of the season. So look for that here.
And it's not running the score up by no means. I mean, this is a one-game season.
Right.
And so, Coach Brunson, I mean, you can't score too many points, I don't believe. So they will drop back to punt. The freshman Valadez, I believe I'm saying that right, Pablo Valadez. That's what we'll just say, Valadez. And Junior is at his 40-yard line. A good snap and another good punt. Junior backs up, makes the catch. Now going forward, and he's got some grass ahead of him, but there's a flag down back here, Seth. And so 2 flags. Junior is in the end zone, but this punt return may be coming back because of some blocks in the back possibly. Or
a couple of questionable blocks in the back. I saw both of them, and it could have been argued either way, but as I said, I mean, he could return it for a touchdown, and he did, but it's going to come back here after the infractions, which is unfortunate, and I guess they're not going to.
Well, Freeport is running off the field to the locker room before the officials have given us any kind of a signal. But, yeah, Junior took the punt back into the end zone. He ran it about 60 yards, but there's several flags down, and now they call him Freeport back out onto the field.
Yeah, they'll have at least one
untimed down. Yeah, very possible. But Coach Brunson, his strategy worked in reality, except for the penalties. And we got some more scores.
Yeah, Chipley and Vernon.
Yeah, Vernon shutting out Chipley 27-0 in the second. Crestview over Niceville 21-0 in the third quarter. And we give these earlier. Pace 17, or excuse me, Navarre 17, Pace nothing, and Northview over Graceville 20-8. But Vernon shutting out Chipley.
And Vernon, one of the tougher teams that Baker has played this season, the team that actually held them to their lowest point scored, 19, and they the defense gave up 6 that game, so that was a pretty low-scoring game. Vernon, one of the teams that were a solid challenge in district this year.
Right, and their running back, Kwan Powell, was actually at Freeport and transferred to Vernon, and he was one of the toughest running backs that the Baker defense faced all season, and no offense to anyone else. But, one of the just one of the tougher.
Comparable to Brandon Seipels and Junior in the way he ran, absolutely.
And got another score, Jay over Bozeman, 28-0. Jay shutting out Bozeman. So Peyton on the one untimed down just takes a knee, and we'll go to halftime. Your halftime score here is Baker 28 and Freeport 7. We'll take a break and be back after this.
WTJT is honored to recognize the support of Adams Sanitation to this ministry. Adams is locally owned and operated and has been for more than 35 years. They offer twice weekly pickup featuring automated trucks. No bagging of trash required. Adams also offers complimentary pickup of small bulk items, appliances, bagged yard waste, plus complimentary service to any church within their service area. They have 65 or 96-gallon rolling cans and pricing plans specifically for the senior 65 and older. The phone number to Adams Sanitation is 537-3282. The website is adamsanitation.com.
One of our sponsors this year for our live coverage of Baker Gator varsity football is Wise Equipment in Crestview. Wise Equipment specializes in sales and services of Kubota and John Deere mowers and tractors. They carry Steel and John Deere chainsaws, line trimmers, and blowers. Plus, they have John Deere toys. All products are backed by a manufacturer's warranty. Wise Equipment is located at 1147 South Verdon Boulevard in Crestview and can be reached at 850-682-3366.
We are proud to acknowledge the support of Whitehurst Powell Funeral Home in Crestview. They are a family-owned and operated funeral home, open 7 days a week, and can handle all funeral needs. Plus, they offer advanced planning. Whitehurst Powell is also home to the Southern Heritage Crematory. They are located at 436 James Lee Boulevard, and the phone number is 850-682-3052. Owner Andy Powell is committed to caring for you in your time of need, and is also proud to help make coverage of Baker Gator football possible.
WTJT would like to thank Harris Fence of Baker, Florida for their support of WTJT and live coverage of Baker Gator football. Harris Fence offers a wide range of fencing services and supplies which include chain link, galvanized or vinyl coated, wood, privacy or picket, PVC, privacy, 3-rail, etc., and ornamental aluminum. They also offer various styles and brands. They do residential, commercial, and industrial work as well as offer free estimates and military and senior citizen discounts. Harris Fence is fully licensed and insured, and they have been serving Okaloosa, Walton, and Santa Rosa County for 21 years with 35 years experience. They are also a member of the Better Business Bureau. Harris Fence is located at 1588 Garrett Mill Road in Baker, Florida, and they can also be contacted by phone at 537-6169. Thanks again to Harris Fence and James and Rebecca Harris for your support of WTJT and our local football team.
This radio ministry relies heavily upon its gracious supporters to survive, like Days Tire Pros in Crestview. In addition to tires with a national warranty, they have a complete car care center, providing brake jobs, front end and rear end alignments, oil change, lube and filter, shocks, belts, air conditioning, and so much more. Days is located where they've been for nearly 4 decades of service on Highway 85 South, which is also home to Pack Rat Mini Storage. The phone number, 850-682-5088. Thanks, Kim and staff, for your support. Days Tire Pros, home of the hassle-free guarantee.
Milligan Assembly of God is a proud sponsor of Baker Gator football. Our service times are on Sundays at 9:30 for Sunday school, 10:30 for morning worship, and 6 p.m. for Sunday night explosion. Our midweek service is on Wednesday nights starting at 7 p.m., and there's something for every age group of the family. You can connect with us at mag.church, and you can check us out on Facebook. From Pastor Mike White and the congregation of Milligan Assembly of God, we want to say,
Go Gators, yeah!
And welcome back to Baker, Florida, inside Doug Griffith Memorial Stadium. I'm Mark Forehand along with Seth. It is halftime in this first round playoff game, Baker 28, Freeport 7. And Seth, what's on your mind?
I mean, what a first half. It's kind of what we anticipated. Freeport struggling a little bit on the year, coming in 3-6, Baker 9-0. Just an absolute dominant team in just about every aspect of the game, offense, defense, special teams. So they've come out tonight and did kind of what we expected them to do, 28-7 here. They've really contained the star running back for Freeport in Brandon Seipels. He had the quarterback, Justin Clark, actually has their lone touchdown tonight. And then on the opposite side, Junior McLaughlin has just done Junior McLaughlin things. 3 touchdowns already on the ground tonight, and just he's been a force. So it's been a solid first half from this Gator team.
Indeed it has, and he actually had another touchdown, but it was called back. I returned the punt about 60 yards and called back for a questionable block in the back. Nonetheless, it is 28-7. Now, one thing I always look forward to is your keys to the game, and here we are at halftime, and I want to hear some of your keys to tonight's game.
Yeah, well, all right, let's talk about it. So, number one for Baker, and this is number one pretty much every time because it's really what they have to do to be successful, and that's give it to Junior McLaughlin. And I said specifically it's time for playoff McLaughlin. Playmakers like this, when they get into situations like the playoffs, and Junior McLaughlin has done exactly that, 3 touchdowns. I would argue that he's one of the best players in Class 1A ball. So some fun stats from him. 1,817 yards on the ground this season, and that's in only 8 played games out of what could have been 10. So he could have been well over 2,000 yards had he had those extra 2 games to work with. That's only on 158 carries. He's got an 11.5 yard average per carry. So he's getting a first down and then some every time he touches the ball. That's impressive. 22 touchdowns coming into tonight on the ground, and he's added 3 more tonight. So he's up to 25 touchdowns running. And also, receiving, passing, he's done just about everything. And he is responsible actually for 58% of the offense's yards and 59% of the touchdowns. So, I mean, just an absolute workhorse, powerhouse, whatever you want to call him. He is the heart and soul, the bread and butter of this offense. And I'm sure he would be the first to tell you that it all starts with his offensive line. If he didn't have those big hog mollies blocking for him every play, giving him room to run, he wouldn't have near that. But he has some great guys to run behind. Now, number 2, it's time for some playoff discipline. Penalties have just been unbelievable this season, and this is a sad stat, but Baker has nearly as many penalty yards as they do passing yards. 453 passing yards, over 400 yards worth of penalties in these 8 games. And then tonight, they've added an extra, I believe, 35 or 45 yards worth of penalties. And it hasn't been just your standard false start, stuff like that. It's holding penalties and blocking the back penalties that have taken away huge plays. Like we just saw at the end of the half, what would have been a special teams touchdown, the 3rd for Junior McLaughlin on the season, gets nullified after some blocking the back. So in these games where they have just really shut themselves down, we mentioned it earlier, Baker is the only team that can stop Baker. So these self-inflicted wounds really are going to have to stop if they want to continue to progress further along as the competition continues to get steeper and deeper in the playoffs. Number 3, play some sound D against the pass. We haven't actually seen Freeport pass that much tonight. We may see that change a little bit in the second half as it might become more imperative, honestly, as Freeport gets a little bit more desperate. Already down 21 here. They may have to pull out some stops and start to get a little bit more creative with their offense rather than just handing off to Seipels and Dunwald. But the Gators have struggled a little bit earlier in the season against some pass-heavy teams like South Walton. However, they make these phenomenal adjustments at halftime, and we didn't get to see Freeport really pass except for a couple of drop passes in this first half. So maybe in the second half we might see them pass a little bit more, and the Gators may have to make some on-the-fly adjustments to handle that pass game. But if they're able to do that, Freeport has really just not had hardly any success on the ground, save for that one drive, and they're kind of one-dimensional right now, and the Gators are just going to continue to exploit that and shut that down as much as possible. And number 4, for the Gators, implement a passing game. Baker's a run-first, pass-second team. And as well they should be. You got so many outstanding backs that start with Junior McLaughlin and run right down to Trey Colmetch, Joe Brunson, John Mataleska, your fullback, Garen Mitchum, Kenny Williams, another fullback. They can come in and run for you. Just so many guys that run so well. But you do have a good quarterback. Peyton Rockwell has a strong arm. He's fairly accurate, and he has some great receivers. And Brad Inscore, that we've talked about several earlier games of the season, just made some circus-style catches. Last week we got to see the tight end, Eric McQueen, get involved and make a touchdown early in the first half there. So as we progress further along in the playoffs and in this game, I think it's going to be really important for the Gators to add that second dimension to their offense in the form of a pass game with Peyton Rockwell. So Baker has really executed everything they've needed to in this first half so far. You got a 21-point lead, and you're getting the ball to start the second half. You can't ask for a much better start to your first playoff game of the season. And so for Freeport, number 1 key, it's my number 1 key for every team, every single week, you got to contain Junior McLaughlin. If you can't stop him and your offense can't keep up with the scoring of the Gators offense, you're not going to win this game. You're not even going to keep it competitive, to be honest. And when you're down 21 points, it's really hard to keep a game competitive. Freeport's had several opportunities, but they've also committed some penalties that have given them second 15s and third and 12s to work with, and it's just so hard to convert those kind of yardage situations. And so whatever they're going to have to do, they're going to have to figure it out in the second half. Junior's already got 3 touchdowns on the ground. He could probably get 3 more in the second half if he wanted to. He's just having that kind of night. So Freeport's going to have to figure out something to contain him in the second half. Number 2, you got to make Baker pass. If you can't contain McLaughlin, you're not going to make him pass. So the number 1 key is going to be important for the rest of these. But if they're somehow able to contain the run game for Baker and force Rockwell to pass a little bit, they can exploit some weaknesses there. Peyton is 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions through the air this year. So he can make a few mistakes. He's not perfect, but he's a little susceptible to the turnover bug every now and then, but still a phenomenal passer. But Freeport's really going to have to work to maybe force Baker into some turnovers and turn this game around a little bit in the second half, and that brings me to point number 3. They're going to have to get some turnovers. They almost had that one where they stripped the ball, but it was nullified as a result of a face mask. So if they have any passing opportunities, they're going to want to get in those passing lanes, get their hands up, and try to bring down the ball for an interception or get a helmet on a ball, punch that peanut, find a way to force some fumbles and recover those fumbles as well if they want to somehow manage to come back in the second half. And number 4, and this was something I asked early on, we saw 2 straight drives without Seipels, the number 1 player, getting the ball. And once he got that ball in the 3rd drive, they were actually able to drive down and get that score. But now the Gators have seemingly found out how to stop him almost immediately. So he's really going to have a breakout second half as well to make this game competitive in the second half. So there's my keys for this game.
And Seth, you mentioned the quarterback for Freeport, Justin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
On the season, he had thrown, I believe, 115 passes.
Yeah.
Tonight, we've seen him throw 2, and I believe they were both
incompletions.
Incomplete, right,
yeah.
exactly. Where Peyton Rockwell, our quarterback, has only thrown, I believe, about 30 passes.
Yeah.
So like you said, so I'm kind of surprised we've not seen Justin Clark throw more passes tonight. For whatever reason, they are running the ball, and they're going between Dunwald and Seipels. And really, Justin Clark scored the only touchdown, and that was like a 1-yard dive, a 1-yard there, late or in the first quarter.
Right. Well, I mean, one reason could be that the second pass that Clark threw, he had about 2 or 3 Gator defenders in his face almost immediately, and as he overthrew his big wide receiver in Caden Inns. So, I mean, that could be contributory to why they haven't passed, is because the Gators' pass rush is so terrifying to try to throw against, and the quarterback just has no time to throw. And then you've got some great defensive backs and guys like Inscore, who has a couple of picks, and Derek Peoples also has a couple of picks on the season. So we'll see. It's kind of a catch-21 there. You really got to find what's going to work best in the second half.
And I thought this was interesting when Freeport found out they were the number 8 seed. Their head coach, Sean Hart, sent out this text to his players showing Charlie unwrapping a Willy Wonka bar in the golden ticket. And so it kind of played out as this being their golden ticket. Well, if Freeport is Charlie, then Baker has definitely been Willy Wonka tonight, because they lead 28-7. And now these teams have a history, as I mentioned earlier. The Baker-J rivalry, one of the oldest in the area. Baker-Freeport is somewhere close to that, because these teams, over the years, they have played some great games. There have been some shootouts. There have been some blowouts. There have been some nail-biters.
Yeah.
But they have played some great games. But tonight, they just are struggling. But we mentioned earlier, they're 3-6 on the year, and there's 5 common opponents. And, we looked at them. They both played Holmes County. Baker shuts them out 42-0. Freeport loses to them 26-18. Graceville, Baker shuts them out 47-0. And Freeport loses to them 44-19. South Walton, we won 40-20. Freeport lost by 2, 20-18. Jay, we shut them out 35-0. And they lose to Jay by 4, 30-26. And then Northview, we beat Northview 35-7. They lost 49-21. When you look at the total points, Baker beat the same opponents by a total of 199-27, where Freeport lost 122-187. I know it's just stats on paper, and it means nothing on the field, but tonight, so far, it's kind of proven true. I mean, Baker's up by 21 points. 3 shutouts. The highest point scored against them was South Walton, 20, and the other scores have been 6 or 7 or 14, something like that.
Yeah.
Baker has just been tough all year on offense. And you won't, I think you said it earlier, you don't want to just pinpoint Junior McLaughlin. I mean, there's no doubt that he is one of the best players in this whole Northwest Florida area.
Yeah.
But I believe he would quickly give the credit to his offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys up front, and we mentioned them already, but they have provided holes all year long. And big holes, And they don't just stop there, Seth. They run down the field to make sure that no one else tackles them.
Absolutely.
And that's no easy task because Junior is pretty fast, but I've seen some of these other players, Carter Mason and some of these guys, they're pretty fast too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Derek Peoples running alongside Junior on that one play, but it's been a great year for Baker, and I don't think it's going to stop here. I know we've got another 24 minutes to play, but if Baker maintains this force of play, they're going to win this game tonight and sadly send Freeport home, but that's the way it goes in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to think if there was anything else. The Gators, they have extended their regular season win streak to 29 games. And as we mentioned already, they've advanced now to three straight Final Fours.
Mm. Oh, yeah, when you mentioned that the last time that a Gator football team or a Gator class was able to go 3 straight years and win their regular seasons completely was in 83, 84, and 85, and all 3 of those seasons were capped off with state championships. Thus far, the last 2 seasons, Baker has fallen short of the state championship, and so this year I'm sure these seniors would love to cap off that feat with their first state championship since the 93 season.
Yeah, that's right. 2016, just 2 years ago, they lost to Pahokee in the state championship. I believe it was 35-21. Last year, they made the Final Four into the ends at Bluntstown. And for the past 15 years, Bluntstown has been a thorn in Baker's side.
Yeah.
I know of at least about 3 times that Bluntstown has quickly ended Baker's road to a state championship, or at least an appearance. But then this year, it still has not been decided yet. This is the first round, and it's still a ways to be seen. But I thought it was really just interesting that those 83, 84, 85, the state championship years, that's also the year that, Matt Brunson was a team manager that first year, and then a player on the varsity squad, 84 and 85. But just really a great thing. And I'm trying to remember, Seth, and Jack Allen, your uncle, may remember this, but I think that during that time they had a 42-game win streak. I'm trying to remember. It was something in that neighborhood, 39, 42, something like that. But they had a win streak that surpassed what they've had these past 3 years. Of course, and now that was also including the playoffs, because obviously they won those, because if you lost, you didn't advance, and they won.
Right.
So, but maybe we can find out for sure. But I want to say it was like about 42 straight wins.
Yeah, that would be about right. That's an impressive feat. Potential. This team this year is one of the best Baker teams that I've personally ever seen. Just absolute dominance that's been nearly unparalleled. So they've got a chance to make some history with this squad.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a feat that's going to be hard to beat by anyone at any level.
Yeah.
But we are just about set for the second half. Both teams are back on the field, and we've got a few more scores that we want to pass along to you. In the third quarter, just down Highway 90 and up Highway 85, Crestview Bulldogs are shutting out Niceville 28-0 in the third quarter. Now, Seth, just 2 or 3 weeks ago when Crestview and Niceville played, it was close the first half, and then Crestview just blew Niceville away. I believe it was 63-33, and they may surpass that at this speed. Yeah. And also in the second quarter, I believe I already gave this one, but Jay 28, Bozeman nothing in the second. And the last score we had for Vernon and Chipley was Vernon shutting out Chipley 27-0. So a lot of shutouts tonight in the this first round of the state playoffs.
And Crestview really having one of the better teams that they've had in recent memory as well, showing up and absolutely wrecking their rival Niceville in the playoffs, first round.
And another fact, and we've discussed this already, but Matt Brunson was head coach at Baker for about 10, or at Crestview. I'm sorry, at Crestview for about 10 years, from I believe it was 2001 or 2000 to 2010, something like that. But anyway, as head coach at Crestview, he led Crestview to their first and only state championship appearance. It was a loss to Rockledge, I believe, 22-3, if I recall, back in 2002. But he led them to their only state championship appearance, and things are looking good for Crestview thus far this year. And of course, Matt, also an assistant coach when they won back in '93, and just been very successful here at Baker. It is halftime, and it's 28-7. The Gators on top of the Bulldogs. We'll take another short break and be right back after this.
WTJT would like to thank Jason Norton and Baker Metalworks for allowing us to bring live Baker Gator football coverage to the listeners of WTJT. Baker Metalworks offers a large variety of colors, and they are all Energy Star rated. They have 4 profile styles with 29 and 26 gauge. They also have delivery available, and all of their materials are Florida product approved. Baker Metalworks is located at 5846 Highway 189 in Baker. They can be reached by phone at 850-537-2010. Thanks again to Baker Metalworks for all of your support here at WTJT.
Hi, this is Tony from Baker Feed and Country Store. The Baker Gator football season is back, and we are proud supporters of WTJT's live Baker Gator football program. Baker Feed and Country Store has all your fall food plot, seed, and fertilizer needs, along with corn, rice bran, pellets, and blocks. We carry Justin boots, belts, wallets, and Wrangler jeans. Baker Feed and Country Store is located on the right at the light in downtown Baker and can be reached by phone 537-1000. Again, that's 537-1000. Go Gators!
WTJT and the Baker Gators are proud to recognize Baker Parts in downtown Baker as a sponsor of live coverage of Baker Gator football. Baker Parts has auto parts and hardware for all household needs. Baker Parts is located at 1304 Georgia Avenue in Baker, and their phone number is 537-3131 or 537-4231. Thanks, Danny, and all the staff at Baker Parts for helping to make coverage of Baker Gator football possible on WTJT.
And welcome back to Baker. And now the third quarter kickoff. And it's a little squib kick by Valadez. And it's picked up by Trey Colmetz. And Trey gets out to near midfield before being tackled by number 35 for the Bulldogs. That's Chris Jones.
That's a great return by Trey Colmetz. Gets up under that ball, finds a little bit of a crease, and he's going to take it close to midfield. So the Gators will have, again, great starting field position to start the second half.
Yes, Baker 28 and Freeport 7 as we begin the second half. And if the Gators win tonight, in fact, Seth, as long as the Gators keep winning during the playoffs, I believe they'll be at home each week. And Peyton Rockwell back in at quarterback now and hands off to Kenny Williams. And Kenny Williams is stopped about the 47-yard line of the Bulldogs. It's a 5-yard run, brings up second down and 5 for the Gators.
Like I mentioned earlier, Kenny Williams, another one of those backs, this time coming from the fullback position, who's just got some great brute strength. That time takes it right up the gut, picks up 4 yards on first down.
Yeah, second down now for the Gators, and Peyton hands off to Junior. And Junior slips by one tackler, and then he's stopped by number 50. That's Cade Layton for Freeport. He gets to the 41-yard line. Should be and is a Baker first down.
That's the thing about Junior. You think he's going to get wrapped up and you think he's going to get stopped, but he just keeps those powerful legs moving. And there again, gets his forward progress past the first down marker.
Well, Coach Brunson talked about, like as I said, how he is just very into the weights in the weight room, just works hard, and is just a beast in the weight room. Again, Junior McLaughlin on the handoff, on the right side, finds a hole. He's to the 30, the 25, the 20, the 15. He slips. He's caught by the grass monster about the 18, 17-yard line, but a nice run there until he slips and slides, and he's down, but it's a first down Baker Gators.
Important stat, the grass is now the leading tackler on the night.
I believe that. I believe that is true.
Actually made maybe the touchdown saving tackle right there. It takes Junior's feet out from under him, but a great First down run from Junior. Again, he's so patient as a runner. He looks like he's going to go up the middle, doesn't like what he sees, bounces it outside, follows behind some great blocks, and then just takes up the sideline for a great run.
Yeah, 10:40 to go, and this time it's Kenny Williams on the fake. Peyton keeps the ball, and Peyton from the left side. Peyton into the end zone. Touchdown, Baker Gators. So Peyton says, hey, let me join in on this. I'm tired of Junior getting all the touchdowns. And
that's right.
A nice little run there by Peyton Rockwell. I'll run the left side, and it's Gators now 34-7. Yeah.
And we don't get to talk about it much, but Peyton is also a solid runner. 25 carries on the year, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's going to be his 3rd touchdown, and a great little scamper there. He fakes the handoff to Kenny right up the gut. It's a triple option play, so he fakes the handoff to the fullback. He has Junior running beside him. He decides to tuck it himself, and as the defenders bite on Junior, he just runs in almost untouched into the end zone.
But now, Seth, after that touchdown run, he has to come in and hold the extra point attempt for Brian Holly, which is no good. Go to the left. Nonetheless, the Gators take the kickoff and score on this first possession. And 10:31 to play in the third. Baker 34, Freeport 7. Back after this.
WTJT would like to say thank you to the Okaloosa County Teachers Federal Credit Union for supporting our coverage of Baker Gator football. Okaloosa County Teachers Federal Credit Union offers a wide variety of financial services with 4 locations, including the Baker branch location at the entrance to Baker School next to the Gator Cafe. They can be reached at 850-537-9815 or on the web at OkaloosaFCU.org. You can be a member of the credit union if you live, work, or worship, or attend school in Okaloosa County. For all your financial needs, it's Okaloosa County Teachers Federal Credit Union, achieving goals together.
And welcome back. Touchdown run by Peyton Rockwell, the son of the original The Rock, James Rockwell. And it's Dunwall back at his 20, kind of bobbles it, and he slips down about the 25-yard line, and Seth Dunwald has just had a time trying to stay on his feet with this slippery field out here tonight. But nonetheless, he does get it back to about the 25-yard line, and it's 1st and 10 for Freeport. Now, Seth, you may have mentioned this already, but Brandon Seipels, the number 2, and that's jersey number 2 for Freeport, he averages about 206 yards, all-purpose yards each game, and has, I believe, 18 TDs on the season. But tonight, not much, and he gets the ball here on this first handoff and runs smack dab into Joe Brunson and Kenny Williams and gains a couple of yards. But, for all the stats and stuff we've heard about Brandon Seipels, number 2 for Freeport, just tonight, Baker really just kind of shut him down.
Yeah, your stats don't mean a whole lot once you come against this Baker Gator defense. They don't care about what you did beforehand. It's what you can do now. And tonight, yeah, he just hasn't had any real – he's had a couple of solid runs, but he just – now that the Gators have really figured him out, they're just shutting him down. That first drive that he came in, he had a couple of really big runs. He was running right up the middle. He was running hard. He was getting a couple of first downs, but now this Gator defense is just – completely playing some shutdown defense.
2nd down, 8 from the 27. Justin Clark back to pass. He's got great protection. Now the ball comes loose. Not sure if his arm is in motion. Baker recovers, but now they're saying incomplete pass. And Justin Clark took a lick, and he is slow to get up. But he was set to really throw that ball downfield this time and got hit as he threw it, and it goes incomplete.
Yeah, he got a little blindsided there. He makes a good decision, steps up in the pocket. His big O-line gave him plenty of time there, maybe the most time any quarterback the Gators have faced has had all season. But just that last second, he gets absolutely nailed. And thankfully for him, his hand was in throwing motion, and that ball falls harmlessly to the turf as an incomplete pass rather than a fumble.
9:23 to go in the third quarter. Baker on top, 34-7. Handoff goes to Cameron Hardy. He tries to go around the right side, but there's nowhere to run. And tackle made by Joe Brunson makes the tackle on Cameron Hardy. And he gains maybe a yard, Seth. It's going to bring up 4th and about 7 for the Bulldogs.
That's going to be another 3 and out for this Bulldog offense. Just can't seem to find any success against this fortress of a defense for the Gators.
Indeed. Valadez back to punt for the Bulldogs, and Junior McLaughlin at about his 46-yard line. And it's starting out a good desperation time for the Bulldogs. Another nice snap, and he punts it away from Junior. He sort of just dies about the Baker 45-yard line and is downed by Brian DeAnda for the Bulldogs at the Baker 45-yard line. But I know it's still early, Seth. It's third quarter, 8:31. But does it seem like Baker has just got control of this game in all phases? Offense, defense, and even the special teams. Seems like Baker has Freeport figured out, and now just running the clock.
Yeah, they're just kind of doing what they want, kind of running at will. And it's when the Gators get in a zone like this where they're just everything they do just seems to work. I mean, they're nearly impossible to stop and impossible to work against offensively. So, I mean, as long as the Gators keep this kind of success and keep the momentum on their side, they're going to put up another 2 or 3 touchdowns before this game's over.
Well, there was a flag on the play, but it was waved off by the officials to the jeers of some of the Baker faithful here. And Junior on the carry, and he goes nowhere. Tackle was made by 68, Devon Cosen. He's one of those big offensive and defensive linemen, stands about 6'2 or 6'3.
Yeah, it looked like him and Kobe Phillips there from those defensive tackle positions were able to find Junior and drag him down before he's able to find some open space and make him pay.
He gains 2 yards. It is second down, 8 for Baker from their 47-yard line. Again, Peyton hands off to Junior, and Junior's across midfield to about the 48-yard line.
There was a flag right off the bat as soon as he passed the line of scrimmage, and there might be a hold.
Tackle made by Cade Layton and Brian DeAnda. And Seth, it looks like it's going to be, as you called it, a holding penalty against the Gators.
And that might have been on the big center there, Dustin Oglesby. Just gets a little bit too much jersey pulling, and they're going to call that every time.
It is second down and 15 for the Gators. Back at their 40-yard line. 7:44 to go in the third quarter. It is Baker 34 and Freeport 7. Peyton Rockwell under center. Rolls left, looking to pass, and he's going to keep the ball. And he's across the midfield to the 45, the 40. He's still going. He's to the 40. He puts his head down and just lays into the Freeport defender. And Peyton gets the first down and then some as he is taken down about the 30-yard line. But, man, Peyton Rockwell showing his toughness as he just puts his head down and goes right into the chest of the Freeport defender.
How about the quarterback saying, hey, don't forget, I'm also a defensive back. You hit me, I can hit right back. And like you said, just lowers the boom on the unsuspecting Freeport defensive back.
Well, I've watched his dad play back in the day, and Peyton is he's pretty tough, just like his dad was.
The apple didn't fall far, huh?
No, sir, it didn't. And of course, he is the son of the original The Rock.
The Rock, that's right.
That's right. First and 10, Baker at the Freeport 32-yard line. 7:21 to go in this third quarter. Baker 34, Freeport 7. Peoples in motion. Peoples with the pitch back. And he tries to find somewhere to go. He's getting some help from his offensive lineman. He runs smack dab into Brian DeAnda. And DeAnda pushes him back, but his forward progress stops at the 31-yard line. Be about a yard gain. Brings up second down and 9.
Not a bad run by Peoples. A great job by the Freeport defense to corral him quickly because like we've seen before, once he gets into a wide open area, there's just no catching him. He's got so much speed in open territory, and that time Freeport able to hold him down and stop him before he gets past the line of scrimmage.
6:35 to go in the third quarter, and Baker on top 34-7 over Freeport in this first round playoff game. Peyton Rockwell under center. Again, Peoples in motion, but this time it's Junior with the handoff. And Junior finds a hole. He's to the 10. The 5. Touchdown Baker Gators. Touchdown Junior McLaughlin.
Count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns for Junior McLaughlin on the ground tonight. What a run right there, right up the gut. Just makes a couple of cuts. A few guys miss, and it's lights out Junior McLaughlin.
Yeah, 1 for Peoples and 1 for Peyton as well, and then a fourth there for Junior.
Yep.
About a 31-yard run, and he just busts to the outside, the right side there, and just outruns the Freeport defense. And now there's a flag been dropped right there where the ball is, about the 2-yard line. It is a touchdown.
After the play.
Yeah, unsportsmanlike against the Baker Gators, unsportsmanlike. And Seth, have you been keeping up with the penalties tonight?
I haven't written them down.
Is it one too many?
It's one too many. Yeah, and especially of those kind, a couple of holding penalties, and that's one of the worst ones right there. That's a pure discipline issue. Is the unsportsmanlike conduct after the play? No reason for that. You're up 33 points now. There's no reason to get that way with this kind of lead. Just score your touchdowns, celebrate it quietly, and let's get on with this game.
Exactly. They will assess this penalty, I'm guessing, on the kickoff. Now Peyton comes in, and they will go for the 2-point conversion to get it back to even 7 or
And if that's the case, we were talking about this before the game. Should the Gators get a 35-point lead, that has been a situation for a running clock. So
Peyton to Peoples on the 2-point conversion, and it is good. If I'm not mistaken, is that his second 2-point conversion?
It is.
Well,
the first one was nullified because of a hold.
And then Junior picked it up on the next. Right. Nonetheless, Peyton to Peoples, and the 2-point conversion is good. So now it is Baker 42, Freeport 7. But, yeah, go back to what you were saying about the 35 points.
So now we're in that situation. During the regular season, a 35-point lead meant a running clock would ensue. So does that rule carry over to the playoffs?
See, I'm not sure about that myself. I see the officials huddled together, so we'll find out here. But it is now Baker 42 and Freeport 7 with 6:21 to go in the third quarter, back after this.
Thank you, Brackney Funeral Service in Crestview, for your support. Brackney Funeral Service is located on Highway 90 East. They are locally owned and operated and provide all the traditional funeral services, including burials and cremations. And the telephone number is 683-9898, 683-9898. Terry Brackney is the funeral director. Again, thanks, Terry and Brackney Funeral Service for giving to WTJT.
And welcome back to Baker. And we have been discussing the mercy rule, the running clock during the playoffs. And Seth, I believe I just saw the official. I think he was given that signal to start a running clock after this kickoff. Now, the unsportsmanlike conduct against Baker was assessed here on the kickoff. So now they're kicking off from their 25-yard line, Brian Holly. And he looks like he's going to try a pooch kick once again. And he does. This one stays in bounds. Fair catch is called. He's fumbled. And Baker may have recovered. Fair catch was called for by 21, Cameron Hardy. He bobbles it, drops it, and I believe, I'm not sure who recovered that, but the Gators did recover.
A curious decision by Hardy there. He's in the second line. He has to run up to try to make that catch rather than one of the guys that's nearly right underneath. And I don't think he gets there in time, and then he slips on the grass and not able to recover that. Now the Gators are going to take over again at their own 44-yard line.
Yeah, and the clock is running. We're at 5:40. It is 1st and 10 Baker. I apologize, Seth. I was so caught up in him making the fair catch and dropping. I'm not sure who recovered for the Gators. At any rate, Peyton Rockwell, hands off, and I believe we got John Madaleska in there at running back now, and he's to the 50-yard line. A 6-yard run brings up a 2nd down and 4 for the Gators.
And we talked about it before. Another back that the Gators have they can give it off to. Madaleska on the year, 15 carries, 164 yards, and a couple of touchdowns for himself.
And actually, he's at fullback, and little over anxious there. He stumbled in his position, and he gets the flag for legal procedure. Now there was some pushing and shoving between Baker and Freeport. I believe that may have been the center, Oglesby, and mixing it up with number 70. That's Kobe Phillips.
Big number 70, the opposing center, and also the nose guard, I believe, for Freeport.
But yeah, John was in his stance and kind of stumbled forward, and the referee saw it and threw the flag. So it's a 5
hard to play
yard.
that one off.
Right. It is. It's hard. I guess he could have tried to go into motion or something, but anyway, he's actually playing fullback, and this time Peyton keeps it. Now pitches back to Junior, and Junior's across the midfield to the 45, the 30, the 20, cuts it back in, and he's tackled by the grass, and also gets some help there from 21 Cameron Hardy. But Junior showing that burst of speed again, but he slips down right down there near the 20-yard line.
Grass is 2 for 2 on touchdown-saving tackles.
Exactly. I'm sure Freeport is thankful for that.
Certainly. It's great to have a 12th man out there.
It is.
Not so good when that 12th man turns on you on offense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a great run by Junior. And they're running that triple option again, so he fakes the handoff to, I believe, Madaleska up the middle. Some of the defensive line closes on that, and then he rolls out, has Junior with the option to pitch. They fall in on Rockwell, and he pitches it off, and then McLaughlin just has nothing but open grass to run through.
And John gets the ball, and from 16 yards out, John Madaleska scores a touchdown. Junior ran about 40 yards down to the 16, and then John Madaleska takes it in for the final 16. And so now that's 4 different players that have scored for Baker tonight, and it all will come because of that botched fair catch by Freeport. So now Baker is up 48-7, and the clock is running. We're under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. And Brian Holly on for the extra point. Peyton Rockwell is the holder. And Dustin Oglesby is the center. There's the snap. The ball's down. The kick is up. And it is good. 2:40 to go in the third. Baker 49, Freeport 7. Back after this.
WTJT is honored to recognize the support of Adams Sanitation to this ministry. Adams is locally owned and operated and has been for more than 35 years. They offer twice weekly pickup featuring automated trucks. No bagging of trash required. Adams also offers complimentary pickup of small bulk items, appliances, bagged yard wailing cans, and pricing plans specifically for the senior 65 and older. The phone number to Adams Sanitation is 537-3282. The website is adamsanitation.com.
And welcome back to Baker. After a 16-yard run by John Madaleska, it is now 49-7. And now a different kicker in for the Gators. And Freeport takes the ball and gets across the 40-yard line, and the tackle was made. I believe that was Joseph Ritchie that made the tackle for Baker.
And he planted the returner there for Freeport. It looks like he's going to have some space up the sideline, and that space is gone quickly as Joseph Ritchie just absolutely nails him.
Yeah, I thought he was going too, Seth. I thought he was going for a touchdown, and he was just, like you said, he was just planted and uprooted.
Ritchie decided he was not gone.
It is Northview 34, Graceville 14 in the third quarter. Northview over Graceville 34-14, and Jay shutting out Bozeman 49-0 in the fourth quarter. So it looks like Jay will be advancing to next week's game, and that's who we'll be playing. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. We would be playing Jays, and they'll be playing here.
Baker already with great success against Jay when they traveled over to Jay earlier this season, a 35-0 shutout. The Gators kind of had their way with their most bitter rival.
Exactly. Timeout has been taken. It is Baker 49 and Freeport 7, and we'll take a short break and be right back.
One of our sponsors this year for our live coverage of Baker Gator varsity football is Wise Equipment in Crestview. Wise Equipment specializes in sales and services of Kubota and John Deere mowers and tractors. They carry Steel and John Deere chainsaws, line trimmers, and blowers. Plus, they have John Deere toys. All products are backed by a manufacturer's warranty. Wise Equipment is located at 1147 South Verdon Boulevard in Crestview and can be reached at 850-682-3366.
And welcome back to Baker. 1st and 10, Freeport from their 45-yard line. And on the very first play, it looks like Justin Clark is just pushed back and dropped. Caleb Simpler making the tackle on Justin Clark.
Yeah, look, he was going to try to keep that one for himself and just can't find any kind of space. And in fact, looks like we're going to let the quarter end here.
And real quick, in the fourth quarter, it is Vernon shutting out Chipley 33-0. And in the fourth, Crestview over Niceville 28-7. And here it is Baker 49, Freeport 7 as the third quarter comes to an end. So we'll take another break and be right back with the fourth and final quarter after this.
We are proud to acknowledge the support of Whitehurst Powell Funeral Home in Crestview. They are a family-owned and operated funeral home, open 7 days a week, and can handle all funeral needs. Plus, they offer advanced planning. Whitehurst Powell is also home to the Southern Heritage Crematory. They are located at 436 James Lee Boulevard, and the phone number is 850-682-3052. Owner Andy Powell is committed to caring for you in your time of need, and is also proud to help make coverage of Baker Gator football possible.
WTJT would like to thank Harris Fence of Baker, Florida for their support of WTJT and live coverage of Baker Gator football. Harris Fence offers a wide range of fencing services and supplies which include chain link, galvanized or vinyl coated, wood, privacy or picket, PVC, privacy, 3-rail, etc., and ornamental aluminum. They also offer various styles and brands. They do residential, commercial, and industrial work as well as offer free estimates and military and senior citizen discounts. Harris Fence is fully licensed and insured, and they have been serving Okaloosa, Walton, and Santa Rosa County for 21 years with 35 years experience. They are also a member of the Better Business Bureau. Harris Fence is located at 1588 Garrett Mill Road in Baker, Florida, and they can also be contacted by phone at 537-6169. Thanks again to Harris Fence and James and Rebecca Harris for your support of WTJT and our local football team.
And welcome back to Baker as we begin the fourth quarter. Baker 49, Freeport 7. And now some of the younger players getting in. Sam Croson at quarterback hands the ball off to Joseph Bird on the right side, and he loses yardage back to the 45, so now second down 15 for the Gators. Sam Croson under center, and again hands off to Bird, and Bird gains about 2 or 3 yards before being stopped, and tackle is made by number 17, that is Caden Enns for the Bulldogs.
Important to mention, I don't think we realized it before the quarter ended, is that Baker stripped the ball on that last play by Freeport and actually recovered, and that's why the Gators have taken over at the start of this fourth quarter now. And like you said, several of the backups now getting some game time experience, and what a luxury that is in the first round of playoffs. Your backups are getting to start play in the fourth quarter.
That's true. And the clock continues to roll. 10:35 to go in this ball game, and Baker on top in command, 49-7. Sam Croson hands up again to Joseph Bird, and he shows a little speed there, Seth, as he shoots through there, and he drops the ball, and it's picked up by Caden Enns, and he's still going. It has not been blown dead, and Caden Enns will score for Freeport on a fumble by Baker.
Like there was some confusion and unawareness on the Gator side. Hadn't realized that ball had been fumbled, and Caden Enns takes full advantage of that and is going to get the scoop and score.
Indeed he is, and I'm not sure that I may have miscalled that. May have been Garrett Mitchum on the carry, Seth. I'm not sure. No, I'm sorry. It was Joseph Bird. My mistake. So a little bit of a bright light there for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
It's now 49-13, 9:40 left in the ball game, and Caden in returns that ball about 55 yards for a touchdown.
Call that a consolation prize, if you will.
Yeah, very alert to notice the ball on the ground, and the whistle had not blown, so the play was still live. And now more whistles as we await the extra point by Freeport. And it's a legal substitution, looks like, against the Gators. Declined by Freeport. Now Valadez on for the extra point. Justin Clark is the holder. Awaits the snap. And the kick is up. And it's good. 8:50 left in the ball game. Your new score is Baker 49 and Freeport 14. Back after this.
This radio ministry relies heavily upon its gracious supporters to survive, like Days Tire Pros in Crestview. In addition to tires with a national warranty, they have a complete car care center, providing brake jobs, front end and rear end alignments, oil change, lube and filter, shocks, belts, air conditioning, and so much more. Days is located where they've been for nearly 4 decades of service on Highway 85 South, which is also home to Pack Rat Mini Storage. The phone number, 850-682-5088. Thanks, Kim and staff, for your support. Days Tire Pros, home of the hassle-free guarantee.
And welcome back to Baker. It is 49-14. 8 minutes left in this ball game. And Seth, I'm going to let you tell that little story when we come back or get a break here. That was interesting what you just was telling me.
Sure.
And there's the kick. It's a little squib kick. And Caleb Simpler tries to pick it up, and I believe Freeport may recover this, Seth. Boy, Freeport is showing some life here in this final quarter.
Freeport is looking for the comeback of the century right here from down 49-7, trying to come back, and right there that ends up a Gator mistake, not quite fielding the squib kick, and Freeport's going to take over with solid field position near the Gator 35-yard line.
Yeah, 37 officially. 1st and 10, Freeport from the Baker 37.
I know, so I was talking with one of our other analysts here that is in the background giving us scores and temps, and she asked what I predicted the final score to possibly be, and I said 49-14. The Gators score at least 3 touchdowns, and Freeport score on a fluke.
And you've called it so far. The fluke was the fumble return for a touchdown. Brandon Seipels back in and takes the ball on the handoff, and he is down to about the 30-yard line, about a 7-yard pickup for Seipels, and 2nd down 3, Freeport ball just inside the Baker 30-yard line. 6:30 left in this ball game.
But I love the fight from Freeport. They have a tenacity. They're not giving up. They're still playing this game. There's still time on the clock, and I love that they're still playing with the same ferocity. And Seipels there with another great first down run.
Well, it would be the comeback of the century, or maybe the season, if they could do anything, and they are trying their best. Yeah, look at Seipels again. Tackle made by number 8, Ashton Morrison.
Yeah, I think I would call that the comeback of the century because I don't believe I've ever seen a 42-point comeback in the 4th quarter. That would be something for the history books that I don't know if could ever be topped.
A timeout has been taken with 6 minutes to go in the ball game. 49-14 back after this.
Milligan Assembly of God is a proud sponsor of Baker Gator football. Our service times are on Sundays at 9:30 for Sunday school, 10:30 for morning worship, and 6 p.m. for Sunday night explosion. Our midweek service is on Wednesday nights starting at 7 p.m., and there's something for every age group of the family. You can connect with us at mag.church, and you can check us out on Facebook. From Pastor Mike White and the congregation of Milligan Assembly of God, we want to say,
Go Gators, yeah!
And welcome back to Baker with 6 minutes to play in the ball game. Baker 49 and Freeport 14. And Freeport has the ball 1st and 10 at the Baker 19-yard line. Freeport trying to add a few more points here.
Baker also broke their most points scored this season, 49. They previously 47 last week against Graceville.
And so far, they're trying to keep the points allowed down. It's Seipels on the carry. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Freeport.
Another great run by Seipels. You can see there, just some great tenacity. He finds some room on the outside. Also a great block by his left tackle and heads up that sideline, picks up the touchdown.
Now, Seth, if they close that margin by 35 points, would they stop the running clock? Because now it's 49-20.
Yeah, clock's still running. I'm not sure if that'll have to be a joint decision by the officials to stop that clock or not. I'm not sure.
Valadez is on for the extra point. It is up. It is good. 4:55 left in the ball game. Your new score, Baker 49 and Freeport 21. Back after this.
WTJT would like to thank Jason Norton and Baker Metalworks for allowing us to bring live Baker Gator football coverage to the listeners of WTJT. Baker Metalworks offers a large variety of colors, and they are all Energy Star rated. They have 4 profile styles with 29 and 26 gauge. They also have delivery available, and all of their materials are Florida product approved. Baker Metalworks is located at 5846 Highway 189 in Baker. They can be reached by phone at 850-537-2010. Thanks again to Baker Metalworks for all of your support here at WTJT.
And welcome back to Baker. 4:05 to go in the ball game. It's 49-21, Baker over Freeport. And again, a little squib kick. Takes a nice bounce and picked up by the Gators.
I believe that was Trey Colmetz out there.
Maybe Trey Cole. No, that's number 14. Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah.
And on our roster, no name for that number. But this time the Gators maintain possession and a nice little return by the Gators. They place the ball right at midfield, and the clock continues to roll. 3:27 to go in the ball game.
Good on number 14, keeping those sure hands, making sure he's got good possession of that ball, and actually gets a pretty good return to midfield.
Yeah, and I apologize that we have no name on our roster for number 14, but nonetheless, Sam Croce remains quarterback, and also in the backfield is Joseph Bird. Sam Croson takes the ball, hands off to the fullback, and he is met and stopped at the line by the Freeport defense. About a yard gain brings up 2nd down 9 for the Gators.
And again, this is just a good opportunity for some of your younger players and some of your backups to get some game experience and just continue to show the depth that the Gators have at running back. So many guys that can take that ball and make plays on the ground.
And I'm not sure who the opponent will be next week, but Baker will be at home next week. And we're thinking it may be Jay possibly with their win because they were shutting out. Who were they playing tonight, Seth?
Jay. They were playing Bozeman.
Bozeman, that's right.
Out of Panama City.
Right. 2nd down and 9, and another run by the fullback. A 4-yard pickup to the Freeport 45. Now 3rd down and 5 for the Gators. And the clock continues to roll. We're down to 1:55 left in this ball game, which Baker has well under control.
And what a way to come out in this first playoff game and your team just show absolute dominance. This is great work by the Gators.
Again, handoff to the fullback, and he slips down about the 44-yard line. And tackle made by Fernando Rodriguez of the Bulldogs. Yeah, and Baker has not played Freeport. I'm not sure when's the last time they faced off, but there was a time when it was a big rivalry. But
absolutely
have not played them in a couple of years or so. But so a chance.
All right, so I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're fine. I was done. It's 4th down, and the Gators are going for it. Sam Croson quarterback keeper around the right side, and Sam has the first down inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line.
Yes.
Okay, Seth, go ahead.
And Sam, another great runner. But, yeah, so we have some information on the playoff bracket. So on this side of the bracket, the winner of this game is going to play the winner of the Northview-Graceville game. And I believe the last score we had was Northview was beating Graceville, I believe, in the third quarter by a decent amount. So potential rematch with Northview next week here.
Or Graceville. Well, yeah, depending, if they come back and win. Yeah, right. But they have played both teams recent.
Yeah, last time we saw Northview had a 20-8 lead over Graceville in the second. I'm sure that game has progressed a lot farther along now. But if the trend continues, we will face Northview next week.
And that's going to wrap it up here as the final 10 seconds tick down off this clock. So Baker wins the first game of the playoffs, round one, over Freeport, 49-21. And next week, according to the brackets, we'll face either Northview or Graceville, and most likely Northview. So, Seth, the Gators continue to win, and it's 49-21 over Freeport.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts before we head out of here?
Yeah, just real quick, and I've already said it a couple times. I'm just monumentally impressed with this Gator team. I mean, they looked, again, like a complete team tonight, minus the few penalties that they made a few mistakes with some holding calls, and then the last unsportsmanlike conduct that was a little unnecessary. Other than that, I mean, just played lights out on defense. A couple of flukes here at the end that were, not totally representative of what the team has done as a whole, but they scored the most points they've scored all season, 49 points. Junior had 4 touchdowns, and then I believe 3 other guys, Madaleska, Peoples, and Rockwell, all added some touchdowns on the ground. So this whole team is just some of the most impressive that we've seen from a Gator team. And I'm looking forward to next week as they play the winner of the Graceville Northview game, which I believe you're about to tell us now.
Right. But also, go back to what you said about the most points scored, but also the most points we've allowed,
yes,
21.
True.
It is a final. Northview has beaten Graceville 40-14. Northview beat Graceville 40-14. So next Friday, Baker will host Northview again.
Yes.
And I believe we won earlier this year 35-7.
Correct.
So it'll be a rematch, and it should be an interesting game.
Should be. We'll see.
So, from Doug Griffith Memorial Stadium here in Baker, once again, your final is Baker 49, Freeport 21. Next Friday, we'll be right back here. For Seth Forehand, I'm Mark Forehand. Have a super safe weekend. See you next week.